Phoenix Nights. Chapter 56. That young man looked at Lin Feng with disdain. Maybe he was confident in his own strength, that's why he had dared to use force to buy and sell, and even humiliate Lin Feng. Eh? That's Xian Yuan Yu from the Xian Yuan clan? Indeed, that's Xian Yuan Yu. I've heard that he's been studying cultivation with an incredible alchemist. But I've also heard that he's very aggressive. He's tried to force people to buy and sell on the black streets a few times, but he's from the Xian Yuan clan. The Xian Yuan clan is one of the 10 great clans of Jialan City. They're extremely strong. But Xian Yuan Yu is too arrogant, but there's nothing he can do about it. He's strong, after all. This is a world where the strong prey on the weak. Hee, that little boy is really unlucky. Xian Yuan Yu managed to steal a blood pill for a cheap price of $1 million. He's going to lose everything. Everybody was talking. Everybody was looking at Lin Feng with pity. They all thought that Lin Feng was going to suffer. Oh? You're Xian Yuan Yu, right? You're from the Xian Yuan clan. You think you can force people to buy and sell just because you're from a great clan? You think you can humiliate me? Slap yourself 10 times. Otherwise, I don't mind helping the Xian Yuan clan teach their disciples how to behave. Lin Feng looked at Xian Yuan Yu icily. When he said that, the crowd burst into an uproar. Many people were staring at Lin Feng, dumbstruck. Was that guy crazy? How dare he talk to Xian Yuan Yu like that? How dare he ask Xian Yuan Yu to slap himself? Many people looked at Lin Feng as if they were looking at a madman. How dare he offend Xian Yuan Yu so brazenly? Was he courting death? Good. Someone dares talk to me like that. You don't want to live anymore, do you? Xian Yuan Yu was furious. He looked at Lin Feng with a sinister expression. He didn't try to hide his coldness at all. Xian Yuan Yu waved his hand and said, "Break his legs. Let him know that there are some people he can't afford to offend." "Yes, sir." One of Xian Yuan Yu's guards immediately stepped forward. "They're going to attack. That brat offended Xian Yuan Yu. I'm afraid he's going to die today." Many people began to discuss, looking at Lin Feng with pity. Today's matter was caused by Xian Yuan Yu's coercion. Everyone naturally felt sympathy for Lin Feng. However, no one dared to meddle in Xian Yuan Yu's affairs. "Brat, you dare to offend our young master? You really don't know what's good for you." The guard who stepped out had a hideous grin on his face as he threw a punch at Lin Feng. His punch was as fast as lightning and his movements were as fierce as a tiger. His strength had reached the 9th celestial layer. Many people felt the guard's strength, and their expressions changed slightly. Many people shook their heads. They felt that Lin Feng wouldn't be able to resist. After all, Lin Feng looked like a 15 or 16-year-old boy. How could he resist Xian Yuan Yu's guard? Humph! At that moment, a cold laugh was heard. Everyone saw that Lin Feng had moved. He was like a shadow, extremely fast. Bang! In an instant, Lin Feng and Xian Yuan Yu's guard collided. A silhouette was sent flying. Wah! He coughed up blood in the air. What? How is that possible? Killed in one move? Many people cried out in surprise. All the onlookers were shocked. They looked at the handsome young man in disbelief. Xian Yuan Yu's guard. He was an expert of the 9th celestial layer. He hadn't even been able to resist one move. Was that young man really that strong? There was a thump. Xian Yuan Yu's guard fell to the ground. He held his broken arm and wailed. Looking at the injured guard, Xian Yuan Yu's face became gloomy. As the saying goes, before beating a dog, one has to look at its owner. Lin Feng had injured his guard. Xian Yuan Yu's heart became colder. "Take him down," Xian Yuan Yu said coldly. "Yes, young master." Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. This time, more than a dozen guards beside Xian Yuan Yu moved out and surrounded Lin Feng. Seeing this scene, many people's expressions changed drastically. None of these guards were weak. Although Lin Feng had defeated one of Xian Yuan Yu's guards, it was only a one-on-one battle. But now, Lin Feng was about to be surrounded. From the onlookers' point of view, This was destined to be a battle without any suspense. More than a dozen guards quickly rushed toward Lin Feng. Some punched, some palms. They were coming at him ferociously. Lin Feng revealed a cold expression. At that moment, he also moved. Swoosh! Like a bolt of lightning. Like a bolt of lightning. Lin Feng moved as fast as a cunning rabbit. He flashed through the crowd. Slap, 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 slap. Along with the resounding slap, blood-curdling screams rang out one after another. One figure after another was sent flying backward. They were all Xian Yuanyu's guards. These guards were sent flying by Lin Feng's slap. They couldn't even withstand one move from Lin Feng. The surrounding cultivators were shocked by the scene before them. The corners of their mouths twitched violently. Who would have thought that a young man would have such a powerful cultivation? Could he be a genius from Jialan Academy? Someone whispered. Lin Feng was obviously not a disciple of an aristocratic family in Jialan City. The people of Jialan City knew clearly which geniuses were among the disciples of aristocratic families. There was only one explanation. Lin Feng was from Jialan Academy. That was a place where geniuses gathered. Lin Feng walked toward Xian Yuanyu step by step. Xian Yuanyu was under great pressure. Xian Yuanyu was an apprentice of an alchemist who specialized in alchemy. That was why his cultivation wasn't very strong. However, Xian Yuanyu wasn't afraid of Lin Feng, even though the situation wasn't good. He said coldly, "Did you know that my elder brother is Xian Yuanzhan? He's the second-ranked genius of Jialan Academy." Lin Feng naturally knew of Xian Yuanzhan's name. It was said that he was invincible in Jialan Academy. Even some elders were no match for him. Apart from the mysterious first-ranked genius, no one else in Jialan Academy was a match for Xian Yuanzhan. So what? Lin Feng's lips curled into a smile that wasn't a smile. "You're a student of Jialan Academy, right? You must apologize to me for what happened today. Otherwise, you can imagine what you'll experience in Jialan Academy." Xian Yuanyu threatened directly. It seemed like he had expected that Lin Feng would choose to submit. He was looking at Lin Feng in a condescending way. Bang! Lin Feng sneered and kicked Xian Yuanyu, sending him flying more than 10 meters away. Xian Yuanyu fell to the ground in a sorry state. Lin Feng strode over and stepped on Xian Yuanyu's body. He looked at Xian Yuanyu coldly. "Who do you think you are? How dare you threaten me?" Chapter 57. What? The onlookers stared at the scene before them with their mouths agape. Nobody had thought that Lin Feng would be so strong as to send Xian Yuanyu flying with a single kick. Could it be that this fellow was not worried about Xian Yuanzhan in Jialan Academy? "Brat, you!" Xian Yuanyu's face darkened. He had never felt so humiliated before as Yang Fan was stepping on him. Xian Yuanyu had never felt so humiliated in his life. "Take out 15 million taels of silver and I'll give the Xian Yuan clan some face and spare you today," said Lin Feng. Lin Feng looked at Xian Yuanyu coldly. Xian Yuanyu wanted nothing more than to cut Lin Feng into 1,000 pieces. But he knew that he wasn't a match for Lin Feng. Besides, this little brat didn't seem to have any scruples. Xian Yuanzhan couldn't figure out Lin Feng's background. Xian Yuanyu knew that there were many powerful groups outside of Jialan City. Jialan City was only one of the main cities in Jinwu country. It wasn't ranked very high. The groups in Jialan City weren't ranked very high in Jinwu country. They were just local tyrants. Therefore, Xian Yuanyu decided to give in for the time being and investigate Lin Feng's background before deciding how to deal with Lin Feng. After all, revenge was a dish best served cold. Xian Yuanyu found an excuse to comfort himself. He suppressed his anger and said, "All right, I'll give you the money." Lin Feng withdrew his foot from Xian Yuanyu's body. Xian Yuanyu crawled up from the ground and took out 15 million taels of silver. Before Xian Yuanyu had left, the elders of his family had asked him to buy a large amount of spiritual medicine. But now, he had no choice but to give it to Lin Feng. Lin Feng took the money and looked at Xian Yuanyu coldly. "You can scram now." Xian Yuanyu's heart was filled with hatred, but he knew that he wasn't strong enough to defeat Yang Kai. He had no choice but to hide his hatred. He quickly walked away and disappeared without a trace. The onlookers also gradually dispersed, but many people were still discussing spiritedly. The battle just now was really brilliant. Who would have thought that Xian Yuanyu, the young master of a big clan, would actually suffer such a big loss in that battle? Lin Feng came to the side of the young cultivator who was peddling the black spirit root, took out 5 million taels of silver, and handed it to him. Then, Lin Feng kept the black spirit root. "How should I address you?" The young cultivator was obviously surprised. He did not expect that someone would really spend 5 million taels of silver to purchase a black spirit root. However, he quickly regained his composure. "Jialan Academy, Lin Feng." The young cultivator nodded, turned around, and walked away. "Little brother, you've been tricked. A black spirit root is worth at most 300,000 taels of silver. It's not worth 5 million taels of silver." "That's right, little brother. That guy is obviously trying to extort you." Many people were talking at once. Lin Feng smiled and bid farewell to everyone. How could he not know that a black spirit root was not worth 5 million taels of silver? However, Lin Feng was naturally kind and open-minded. When he saw that the young cultivator was in trouble, he helped him. It could be considered as accumulating virtue and doing good deeds. After that, the days returned to normal. Lin Feng cultivated diligently every day, hoping to break through to the martial master realm. However, it was obvious that breaking through to the martial master realm was not an easy task. There are only 2 more months until the 4 Academies tournament. I hope I can break through before then. Lin Feng muttered. The 4 Academies tournament was a tournament between the 4 Academies of the inner courtyard. It was held once every 3 years. The 4 Academies tournament would rank the geniuses of the inner courtyard. Those who were ranked at the top would not only win glory for their respective academies, but they would also receive a lot of rewards. The higher one's ranking was, the more generous the monthly benefits they would receive from the academy. For example, Lin Feng could only receive 30 ordinary qi replenishing pills every month. However, those who were ranked at the top could receive the Great Strength Latent Dragon Pill. If Lin Feng consumed 1 Great Strength Latent Dragon Pill every day, his cultivation would definitely improve by leaps and bounds. However, the Great Strength Latent Dragon Pill was personally refined by an elder of Jialan Academy. There was a limited supply of it, and it was simply priceless. No matter how rich one could not buy it outside. Therefore, many students cultivated diligently, striving to get a good ranking in the 4 Academies tournament that was held once every 3 years. This would affect whether one would use the Qi replenishing pill or the Great Strength Latent Dragon Pill to cultivate for the next 3 years. The difference between the two was unimaginable. Lin Feng did not dare to slack off. With a loud shout, he leaped out and punched out in all directions. He was practicing the crushing fist. After 2 hours, Su Zimo arrived at Lin Feng's place. "Junior brother Lin, senior brother Zhang Yi asked me to look for you. He said that senior brother Huishuanli was looking for you." Su Zimo said. "Huishuanli? The one who is ranked 7th in the inner courtyard?" Lin Feng asked in surprise. "That's right, it's him." Su Zimo nodded hurriedly. Lin Feng was a little puzzled. He did not seem to have any relationship with Huishuanli. Huishuanli was more mysterious in the inner courtyard and rarely appeared. Lin Feng had been in the inner courtyard for more than half a year, but he had never seen Huishuanli. As for why Huishuanli was looking for him, Lin Feng was naturally very puzzled. "All right, let's go back and take a look," Lin Feng said and returned to the academy with Su Zimo. In the living room, Zhang Yi was carefully talking to a young cultivator. This person looked to be in his teens and was slightly skinny, with a resolute face. Lin Feng was a little surprised. This person should be Huishuanli, the young cultivator who was peddling black spirit roots a few days ago. "Junior brother Lin, it's been a few days since we last met. How have you been?" Huishuanli smiled and asked. Lin Feng nodded. "Everything is fine. Forgive me for not recognizing you, brother Hua," said Lin Feng. It's been more than a year since I left the academy. It's normal that you don't recognize me. Huishuanli smiled and continued. I'm looking for you today because I have something to discuss with you. Senior Brother Hua, Junior Brother Lin, I remember that Wang Xianming is looking for me today. It's almost time, so I'll go see him. Take your time. Zhang Yi smiled and stood up. Take care, Junior Brother Zhang. Huishuanli nodded. After Zhang Yi left, Lin Feng asked, May I know why Senior Brother Hua is here? Junior Brother Lin, do you still remember the Black Spirit root? Huishuanli asked. Of course. Lin Feng nodded. It's the spirit root of the Black Underworld Black Flame fruit. I'm sure Junior Brother Lin knows about it. Huishuanli looked at Lin Feng. Lin Feng nodded. Huishuanli continued. To tell you the truth, I found a Xianming dark flame fruit when I was training outside, but it was protected by a ferocious beast. At that time, the Xianming dark flame fruit hadn't ripened yet. Now, half a year has passed, and I think it should have ripened by now. You and I are brothers, so I would like to invite you to go with us. A matured Black Underworld Black Flame fruit? Lin Feng's eyes lit up. That was a rare treasure. Lin Feng was convinced that he would be able to break through to the martial master level. Then I'll have to thank you, Senior Brother Hua, Lin Feng said, suppressing his excitement. Haha, Junior Brother, there's no need to be so polite with me. We'll leave tomorrow. Get ready, Huishuanli said. All right, I'll prepare well. Lin Feng nodded. Chapter 58. The desolate forest that ran through the entire East region was a place that mortals would not be able to cross in 100 years. The desolate forest was boundless. Ferocious beasts roamed the place, and it was filled with danger. If one was not careful, they could die. The Qilin mountain range was located at the border between the desolate forest and the central region. The Qilin mountain range spanned 800 miles. It was a place where ferocious beasts roamed freely, and it was extremely dangerous. Lin Feng and Huishuanli arrived at the Qilin mountain range. Along the way, Lin Feng and Huishuanli conversed a lot. From Huishuanli, Lin Feng understood that the ferocious beast guarding the dark underworld black flame fruit was a terrifying existence. It was a red flame Qilin that had gained sentience and knew how to cultivate. This red flame Qilin was the king of beasts within a few thousand miles. No one dared to provoke this red flame Qilin. This time, Lin Feng and Huishuanli had come to steal the dark underworld black flame fruit that was guarded by the red flame Qilin. It was like plucking the hair off a tiger. It was an act of seeking death. However, in order to quickly break through to the martial master realm, Lin Feng decided to take the risk. Roar! Not long after they entered the Qilin mountain range, an earth-shattering roar was heard. Then, a snow-white tiger with many spots on its body jumped out. This tiger was 5 meters tall and 8 meters long. Its body was huge and its eyes were cold. It was filled with intelligence. When it looked at Lin Feng and Huishuanli, its eyes were filled with cruelty. Hanging golden-eyed tiger. Lin Feng was shocked. He had seen the introduction of this tiger in the classic of mountains and seas. The hanging golden-eyes tiger was an extremely rare breed of tiger. This type of tiger was huge and had great strength. Most importantly, this type of tiger had gained sentience from the day it was born, just like humans. It could absorb the essence of heaven and earth to cultivate. It was not something that ordinary ferocious beasts could compare to. Roar! The hanging golden-eyes tiger roared and pounced towards Lin Feng and Huishuanli. Its huge claws slapped towards the two of them. Haha, Junior Brother Lin, step back. Let me fight with this hanging golden-eyes tiger. Huishuanli laughed. Lin Feng nodded and quickly retreated a dozen meters. On the other hand, Huishuanli went straight for the tiger. Although the difference in size between the two was huge, Huishuanli wasn't afraid at all. He threw a punch at the tiger. Bang! Both sides fiercely collided with each other. Tyrannical shockwaves swept out, causing the earth to shake violently a few times. Huishuanli was indeed worthy of being the 7th ranker of the Jialan Academy's inner courtyard. He was not at a disadvantage when clashing head-on with the golden-eyed tiger. One man and one tiger fought for dozens of rounds. Huishwanli seized the opportunity and jumped onto the golden-eyed tiger's body. He rode on the tiger's neck and smashed his fist towards the golden-eyed tiger's head, causing it to feel dizzy. The slant-eyed golden-eyed tiger let out a deep roar and suddenly swung its neck, sending Huishwanli flying. Then, it rushed into the forest and disappeared without a trace. "Haha, it's so refreshing to have such a great battle." Huishwanli smiled and said, "Brother, you're so strong. You're so strong. I admire you," Lin Feng said. "I started cultivating a few years earlier than you. With your talent, as long as you break through to the martial master realm, you'll be able to catch up," Huishwanli said with a smile. Lin Feng and Huishwanli continued on their journey. A day later, they arrived at the depths of the Qilin mountain range. Huishwanli said, "Brother, do you see that? That valley in front of us is the nest of the scarlet flame Qilin. The black underworld dark flame fruit grows there." "Yes." Lin Feng nodded. At that moment, 4 figures flew over from afar. "Brother Hua, look!" Lin Feng pointed at the 4 silhouettes in the distance. "Damn, these people all know how to fly. Are they all yin-yang cultivators?" Huishwanli was shocked. Lin Feng and Huishwanli hid themselves deep in the forest. They had a premonition that something was going to happen when the 4 strong cultivators arrived. There were 2 men and 2 women among the 4 cultivators. One of them was a knight wearing golden armor and holding a holy sword. He was riding a flying lion. The other was a mysterious person covered in a black robe. The last one was a beautiful woman wearing a snow-white dress. She looked like a fairy from the 9 heavens. The last one was a seductive woman wearing a red dress. She looked like a vixen. Boom! A terrifying aura emanated from the depths of the Qilin mountain range. Roar! Following that, a deep roar reverberated through the area. A huge ferocious beast with flames all over its body flew out. The beast was more than 10 meters tall and 20 meters long. Its body seemed to contain a terrifying power that could destroy the world. The scarlet flame Qilin had appeared. "Human cultivators, you've overstepped your boundaries." The scarlet flame Qilin looked coldly at the 4 human cultivators floating in the air. The 4 human cultivators were obviously not from the same faction. They stood separately and were wary of each other. The seductive woman giggled and said, "Scarlet Flame Qilin, we've met before, haven't we? I remember when you transformed into a human and went out to train. We even explored the hidden treasures at the bottom of the sea. Feng Yaorao, that was a long time ago. Don't try to be friends with me." The Scarlet Flame Qilin didn't want to give face to the woman. She narrowed her eyes and a cold light flashed in them. Said the other woman, "The Xianming dark flame fruit has matured. We've come here to exchange for a Xianming dark flame fruit with you." "Humph, don't even think about it. I won't agree to it." The Scarlet Flame Qilin rejected. "Could it be that you want to monopolize this kind of spiritual fruit?" The man in golden armor said coldly. "I've guarded this treasure for 100 years before it matured. Do you think it'll be so easy for you to get your hands on it?" The Scarlet Flame Qilin sneered. The woman in white said, "I'll give you enough treasures to exchange for it. You won't suffer a loss. I don't care. Leave now, or don't blame me for being merciless." The Scarlet Flame Qilin said coldly. The black-robed cultivator sneered. "Since you don't agree, we'll have to use force. Everyone, why don't we work together to deal with this Scarlet Flame Qilin before going for the dark flame fruits? What do you think?" "Okay, let's do it." The 4 cultivators agreed. Boom! The next moment, the 4 cultivators charged at the Scarlet Flame Qilin. The Scarlet Flame Qilin roared, "Since you want to die, I'll send you to the afterlife. Scarlet flame burns the sky." The Scarlet Flame Qilin roared. Rumbling sounds echoed through the clouds. Endless flames appeared in the sky and burned the earth, surrounding the 4 cultivators. The Scarlet Flame Qilin wanted to use its demonic flames to burn the 4 cultivators to death. Chapter 59. Asterisk bang bang bang. Asterisk the battle in the sky was extremely intense. Just the shockwaves from the battle were enough to crush a mountain range. This was a battle between yin-yang realm experts. It could be said to be apocalyptic. Experts at this level were like gods to Lin Feng. He could only look up to them. Lin Feng, who was hiding in the forest, witnessed the terrifying battle. 5 extremely terrifying existences could destroy the world with a flick of their fingers. It was truly terrifying. But obviously, the Scarlet Flame Qilin was not easy to deal with. Even if the 4 experts worked together, it would not be easy to take down the Scarlet Flame Qilin in a short period of time. According to the Mountain and Sea scripture, the Scarlet Flame Qilin was a desolate beast. Its body contained the power of desolation. It could control the Scarlet Flame Demon Fire. During a great battle, the Scarlet Flame Demon Fire could cover thousands of miles and destroy the world. It was naturally not easy to subdue such a beast in a short period of time. In fact, the 4 experts had indeed encountered trouble when they were attacking the Scarlet Flame Qilin. Because they were surrounded by the Scarlet Flame Demon Fire released by the Scarlet Flame Demon Fire, if they were not careful, they would be in danger of dying. Lin Feng said, "Senior brother Hua, now that the 4 experts are attacking the Scarlet Flame Qilin, it's our chance." Hua Xuanli nodded. "I have the same idea. Let's quietly sneak into the valley, take the Xianming black flame fruits and leave immediately." The 2 of them reached an agreement and sneaked into the valley. Now that the 5 experts were fighting in the sky, they had no time to pay attention to the ground below. Lin Feng and Hua Xuanli entered the valley. There was a huge cave in the depths of the valley. It should be the Scarlet Flame Qilin's cave. Outside the cave, there was a fiery red divine tree that was more than a meter tall. It must be the Xianming black flame fruit tree. There were more than 10 fruits on the divine tree. 5 of them were scarlet red, while the rest were as black as ink. Hua Xuanli said, "Brother, do you see that? Those are the Xianming dark flame fruits. Those pitch-black fruits are not ripe yet. Don't even touch them, they're extremely poisonous. If you eat them, even a great Luo Golden Immortal won't be able to save you. Those red fruits are ripe, they're not poisonous." "Yes." Lin Feng nodded. The 2 of them sped towards the profound nether dark flame fruits. Before long, they arrived at the entrance of the cave. Just as they were about to pick the profound nether dark flame fruits, a terrifying aura suddenly emerged from the cave. With a flash of fire, 2 ferocious beasts rushed out. These were 2 Scarlet Flame Qilin beasts. But clearly, compared to the Scarlet Flame Qilin beast king in the air, their bodies were much smaller. These 2 Scarlet Flame Qilins were 3 meters taller and 5 meters longer. They should be in their infancy stage. That was because an adult Scarlet Flame Qilin could reach a height of more than 10 meters, and its body length could reach more than 20 meters. It was a colossal creature the size of a mountain. After the 2 red flame Qilins rushed out, they immediately pounced towards Lin Feng and Hua Xuanli. "There are actually 2 more." Lin Feng and Hua Xuanli's faces changed as they quickly dodged the Scarlet Flame Qilin's attack. The 2 Scarlet Flame Qilins locked onto Lin Feng and Hua Xuanli respectively. Lin Feng could even see a hint of mockery in the Scarlet Flame Qilin's eyes. "This fellow already has its own intelligence?" Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat. "Roar!" The Scarlet Flame Qilin let out a low roar and rushed towards Lin Feng, swiping at him with its claws. Lin Feng dodged a few times, but he soon realized that dodging was not the way to go. He activated the Archean Dragonesque Elephant skill and activated Crushing Blow, sending a punch towards the Scarlet Flame Qilin. Bang! Lin Feng and the Scarlet Flame Qilin collided violently. Instantly, Lin Feng felt an earth-shattering force flowing through his arm and into his body. That force was too terrifying, as if it wanted to destroy Lin Feng's body in an instant. Lin Feng took the Scarlet Flame Qilin's attack and was sent flying like a kite with its string cut. His body slammed heavily into a rock wall, as if his entire body had fallen apart. "Damn, this Scarlet Flame Qilin is so powerful!" Lin Feng was depressed. It had been a long time since he had suffered such a setback. This was a battle on a completely different level. The scarlet flame Qilin roared and pounced towards Lin Feng once again. On the other side, Huishuanli and the scarlet flame Qilin were engaged in a fierce battle. Huishuanli was a martial master cultivator, so he had the upper hand in the battle with the scarlet flame Qilin. The scarlet flame Qilin was sent flying by Huishuanli. This also infuriated the scarlet flame Qilin. The scarlet flame Qilin opened its bloody mouth and spat out clusters of fireballs towards Huishuanli. This was the scarlet flame demon fire that the scarlet flame Qilin race possessed. This demon fire was extremely terrifying. Once it touched the body, it would be difficult to extinguish it. It would burn for 10 days without weakening. Unless a yin-yang realm expert had a strong protective aura, he would not be burned to death by the scarlet flame demon fire. For cultivators like Lin Feng and Huishuanli, once they were hit by the scarlet flame demon fire, they would be burned alive. Huishuanli did not dare to take the scarlet flame demon fire head-on, so he could only dodge quickly. Roar! The other scarlet flame Qilin roared and pounced towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng was trapped in a corner, and the situation was very dangerous. Once the scarlet flame Qilin got close to him, his life would be in danger. Lin Feng was very clear about this. At this critical moment, Lin Feng activated his 3 devouring martial spirits. At the same time, Lin Feng's 3 absorbing spirits started to revolve and a magnetic field started to appear around Lin Feng. This was one of Lin Feng's most powerful techniques. The confining magnetic field enveloped the scarlet flame Qilin. The scarlet flame Qilin was fixed in midair. Lin Feng shouted and sent the scarlet flame Qilin flying with a punch. Lin Feng did not dare to hesitate. He quickly rushed towards the Xianming dark flame fruits and reached out to grab a few ripe fruits. However, the scarlet flame Qilin that was sent flying by Lin Feng had already pounced on him. It opened its mouth and spat out the scarlet flame demon fire. Lin Feng's expression changed slightly. He grabbed 2 Xianming dark flame fruits and twisted his body in midair. He dodged the scarlet flame demon fire and landed steadily on the ground. I got it! Let's go! Lin Feng shouted. Great! Huishuanli's eyes lit up. He stopped fighting the scarlet flame Qilin and rushed out with Lin Feng. The 2 scarlet flame Qilins were unwilling to let Lin Feng and Huishuanli go. They chased after them but could not catch up. Lin Feng and Huishuanli escaped into the forest and disappeared. Chapter 60. One for each of us. Lin Feng gave one to Huishuanli. Haha, that's great! Our cultivation levels will definitely increase by leaps and bounds. Even Huishuanli, who was usually calm, couldn't help but feel excited. Lin Feng said, Let's find a place to refine it. It's better if we go further away, Huishuanli said. Lin Feng and Huishuanli quickly left the Qilin mountain range. Even if they wanted to refine the Xianming dark flame fruit in the wild forest, they couldn't do it here. This was the Red Flame Qilin Beast King's territory. The Red Flame Qilin Beast King probably knew everything about this place. Refining it here would be suicidal. However, Lin Feng and Huishuanli couldn't go back to the college to refine the Xianming dark flame fruit because it had to be refined within 3 days after being picked. Otherwise, its effects would be greatly reduced. Roar! Not long after Lin Feng and Huishuanli left the Qilin mountain range, an earth-shattering roar came from afar. Endless flames burned the sky and an angry roar resounded through the clouds. Despicable human ants! How dare you steal my Xianming dark flame fruit? You're courting death! Oh no, the Red Flame Qilin Beast King is here! Lin Feng and Huishuanli's expressions changed drastically. The Red Flame Qilin Beast King must have heard from the other 2 young Red Flame Qilins that Lin Feng and Huishuanli had stolen 2 Xianming dark flame fruits. It was even angrier than if the Xianming dark flame fruit had been stolen by the 4 strongest cultivators. After all, the 4 strongest cultivators were all top cultivators. If the Xianming dark flame fruit had been stolen by them, it only meant that they weren't strong enough. However, Lin Feng and Huishuanli were just ants in the eyes of the red flame Qilin Beast King. The fire unicorn beast felt humiliated. It had chased after Lin Feng and Huishuanli for a long time, and finally, it saw Lin Feng and Huishuanli in the distance. Lin Feng was a tiny human being. "Let's split up," Lin Feng said. "Be careful," Huishuanli said solemnly. "You too." Lin Feng and Huishuanli quickly separated and ran in two different directions. Not long after, a terrifying aura came from behind Lin Feng. The red flame Qilin Beast King had chosen to pursue Lin Feng. "This lowly human makes me feel a bloodline power that makes my heart palpitate. Why is that? Could it be that this brat had some kind of great bloodline? I want to eat him." The red flame Qilin Beast King was ruthless. These ferocious beasts could devour the blood of cultivators to increase their strength and enhance the power of their bloodline. The red flame Qilin Beast King could clearly sense the powerful bloodline in Lin Feng's body. Therefore, it chose to chase after Lin Feng. "Damn, this guy is so fast!" Lin Feng's face was gloomy as he quickly flew through the forest. However, it wasn't easy to get rid of the red flame Qilin Beast King. Lin Feng was running at full speed, but the distance between him and the red flame Qilin Beast King was getting shorter and shorter. If this continued, the red flame Qilin Beast King would catch up with him. Once the red flame Qilin Beast King caught up with him, he would die. "No, I have to think of a way to avoid the red flame Qilin Beast King. Otherwise, I'll die," thought Lin Feng. After running for a few more miles, the red flame Qilin Beast King was getting closer and closer to Lin Feng. At this moment, it was very dangerous. If he wasn't careful, the red flame Qilin Beast King would catch up and kill him. However, at this critical moment, a cliff appeared in front of him. Lin Feng looked down and saw a gigantic tree halfway up the cliff. Lin Feng jumped down. Initially, he wanted to hide in that gigantic tree, but he hadn't thought that there would be a cave next to the gigantic tree. That cave was about a meter high and was extremely well hidden. Lin Feng jumped into the cave. When Lin Feng entered the cave, he realized that it was about a dozen square meters in size. It was quite large. "Roar!" At that moment, the red flame Qilin Beast King's roar resounded through the sky. The red flame Qilin Beast King was chasing after him. Even if Lin Feng hid in the cave, he couldn't guarantee that he would be able to escape. He looked around and moved a rock from the cave to block the entrance. At that moment, the red flame Qilin Beast King chased after him. Lin Feng saw the red flame Qilin Beast King floating above the cliff, looking for Lin Feng. Lin Feng held his breath, afraid that he would attract the red flame Qilin Beast King's attention. Hiding in the cave, Lin Feng didn't move. He was afraid that the red flame Qilin Beast King would hear him. Luckily, the cave Lin Feng was hiding in was well hidden and the entrance was blocked by a rock. Otherwise, the red flame Qilin Beast King would have found him. The red flame Qilin Beast King couldn't find Lin Feng. It roared and flew away, continuing to look for Lin Feng. Phew! Lin Feng heaved a sigh of relief. He was extremely lucky to have been able to avoid the red flame Qilin Beast King's pursuit. He took out the dark underworld black flame fruit and smiled. "I hope I can use the power of the dark underworld black flame fruit to break through to the martial master realm." Lin Feng swallowed the dark underworld black flame fruit. All of a sudden, surging waves of energy exploded within his body. This power, like a surging tide, instantly engulfed his entire body. Lin Feng's meridians had almost been destroyed by that monstrous strength. The dark underworld black flame fruit was indeed a rare treasure. The energy it contained was unimaginable. Lin Feng didn't dare hesitate. He quickly activated the Archean Dragonesque Elephant skill and devoured the energy in his body. The energy of the dark underworld black flame fruit was gradually devoured by Lin Feng. This energy was converted into the Archean Dragonesque Elephant strength and flowed through Lin Feng's body. When he was a martial artist at the 10th heaven, the Archean Dragonesque Elephant strength in Lin Feng's body flowed like a small stream. However, after refining the dark underworld black flame fruit, the Archean dragonesque elephant strength in Lin Feng's body converged into a river. The surging Archean dragonesque elephant strength flowed through his limbs and bones. Success or failure depends on this. Lin Feng roared and activated the Archean dragonesque elephant skill. The Archean dragonesque elephant strength in his body completely exploded. Lin Feng's body was filled with an earth-shattering energy. That energy was flowing through Lin Feng's body at an incredible speed. It circulated for a total of 49 major circulations. Boom! A terrifying energy exploded in Lin Feng's body. Roar! An ancient world appeared behind Lin Feng. An Archean dragonesque elephant stood on the ground with its head facing the sky. It roared to the sky, shaking the heavens. The martial master realm! It's finally done! Lin Feng opened his eyes and stood up abruptly. He waved his right hand in the air and a burst of true qi shot out. Puff! The true qi was like a sword, piercing through a rock more than 10 meters away. The release of true qi was a sign of the martial master realm. Chapter 61. Bang! 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 In the forest, a terrifying shockwave swept through the world. 3 powerhouses floated in the air as they fought fiercely. An enchanting woman in red and a black-robed man were attacking a white-robed woman. Why are the 3 of them fighting? Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter as he watched the battle. He hid in the dark and observed. These 3 people were really powerful. Every move they made had the power to destroy the world. The 3 people fighting were none other than 3 of the 4 powerhouses that Lin Feng had met before. Back then, the 3 of them had joined forces to attack the Red Flame Qilin Beast King. Now, they were killing each other. Lin Feng couldn't help but sigh. In this world, there was no such thing as an eternal alliance, only eternal benefits. A battle between powerhouses of this level had to have a motive. Boom! The black-robed man stretched out his right hand and uprooted a 10,000-meter-tall mountain. This technique was like the work of the gods. As expected of a yin-yang realm powerhouse, he had the power to destroy the world with a flick of his finger. The black-robed man grabbed the 10,000-meter-tall mountain and threw it at the white-robed woman. The void seemed to collapse from the impact. The white-robed woman swung her sword to block the attack and shattered the mountain. But at this moment, the red-robed woman rushed forward and stabbed the white-robed woman with her sharp weapon. Although the white-robed woman's reaction was fast enough, her abdomen was still torn open, and blood immediately gushed out. The white-robed woman swung her sword and repelled the red-robed woman. Then, she quickly flew into the distance. After her, we can't let her escape. The red-robed woman and the black-robed man quickly chased after her. In the blink of an eye, the 3 powerhouses had disappeared without a trace. What a powerful powerhouse! He could uproot a 10,000-meter-tall mountain with a flick of his finger. Is this a yin-yang realm powerhouse? Lin Feng felt his blood boiling and surging with excitement. This was a cultivator. This was a great powerhouse. Flying in the sky and hiding in the ground, covering the sky with a flick of his finger. This kind of realm was really something to look forward to. Lin Feng clenched his fists. He was filled with fighting spirit. He believed that one day, he would cultivate to this level. Lin Feng continued flying outside. At noon, the sky was covered with dark clouds and thunder rumbled. Crash! Not long after, heavy rain poured down. The dense curtain of rain made it impossible to see what was happening a few meters away. As the torrential rain fell, Lin Feng found a dry cave to take shelter from the rain. Suddenly, he saw a woman in white lying in the distance. Her body was already half buried by the rain. Lin Feng was shocked and hurriedly ran over. He came to the white-clothed woman's side and picked her up. She felt relieved when she didn't find anything strange, but when she thought about how her body had been completely seen by this man, she felt so ashamed that she wanted to die. You're finally awake. Lin Feng saw that she had woken up and let out a long breath. Seeing the woman's beautiful eyes coldly looking at him, Lin Feng said, I didn't mean to offend you before, I just wanted to save you. Don't worry, when you were unconscious, I didn't do anything to you that I shouldn't have done. Lu Piaoxue naturally knew what Lin Feng meant by shouldn't have done. Her beautiful face blushed, and the coldness in her eyes became much gentler. It's a special situation, I don't blame you. Thank you for saving my life. Lu Piaoxue's voice was weak. That night, Lu Piaoxue was very weak. She fainted several times and woke up several times. Ice Blade, combined with the 13 glacial strikes, the ice chi has injured my internal organs. Help me find 3 kinds of yang medicinal herbs. I want to use them to dissolve the ice chi in my body, Lu Piaoxue said weakly. She took out a map with 3 kinds of medicinal herbs and a detailed description. Then, she fainted again. Lin Feng knew that Lu Piaoxue's injuries weren't just external. The fatal thing was the ice chi that she had mentioned. It had injured her internal organs, which was very fatal. If he couldn't dissolve the ice chi in her body, Lu Piaoxue's life would be in danger. Lin Feng braved the rain and left. In a daze, Lu Piaoxue looked at Lin Feng's back as he left. Warmth flowed in her heart. Lin Feng was in the forest looking for the things that Lu Piaoxue had mentioned. It wasn't until the afternoon that he found the 3 kinds of yang medicinal herbs. Lu Piaoxue had listed them according to her injuries and the situation in the forest. She must have seen them before in the forest, which was why she had asked Lin Feng to look for them. Lin Feng quickly returned. On the way back, Lin Feng saw a woman in red clothes in the distance. That woman in red had an enchanting figure. Her graceful and exquisite body was simply the most perfect body. It made men's blood boil. She had a charming and seductive face. She was seductive like a fox spirit. Chapter 62. The woman in red was extremely alluring. She was definitely a beauty who could bring calamity to a country. However, when Lin Feng saw her, he quickly turned around and left in another direction. She was a terrifying woman. Lu Piaoxue had been injured by her. Whoosh! The woman quickly flew over and blocked Lin Feng's path. Although it was raining heavily, Feng Yarao was surrounded by a layer of earth energy. The rain couldn't touch her body at all. Why are you leaving so quickly after seeing me? Little brother, am I not beautiful? Feng Yarao's seductive voice could be heard. It was a voice that could make a man's bones go soft. Lin Feng had always been on guard. He was afraid that he would fall into this woman's trap. However, he knew that he had to act calm at this time. Otherwise, if this woman noticed something strange, he would be in big trouble. It's raining heavily in the forest, and I suddenly saw such a beautiful woman like Big Sister. I thought you were a fox spirit in disguise. I've read the classic of mountains and seas, and it says that there are fox spirits who cultivate their Tao and transform into beautiful women in the rain. They often appear in front of people to gain sympathy and then take people's lives. I'm alone in this wild forest, and I'm afraid. I hope Big Sister won't blame me. Please don't blame me, Lin Feng said. I didn't expect you to be a bookworm. Most of the ghost legends recorded in the classic of mountains and seas are fabricated. Don't believe them so easily. Besides, do you think a fox spirit is as beautiful as me? Feng Yarao twisted her body slightly. Her body emitted an alluring fragrance. One had to admit that this woman was a femme fatale who could bring calamity to a country. I've never seen a fox spirit before, but it's my first time seeing a woman as beautiful as you. I'm sure that even the fairies in the 9th heaven can't be as beautiful as you, Lin Feng said. What a sweet mouth. Feng Yarao smiled. Which woman didn't like to hear such flattery? Peerless beauties liked it even more. Feng Yarao wasn't just a peerless beauty, she was also a peerless powerhouse. However, she was also a woman. As long as she was a woman, she would care about her appearance. I'm telling the truth, Lin Feng said with a smile. Feng Yarao narrowed her pair of charming red phoenix eyes and looked at Lin Feng, then intentionally or unintentionally asked, Why are you running around in the mountain forest in this heavy rain? Are you looking for something? Lin Feng shivered in his heart. He feels that Feng Yarao might be suspicious of him. That seemingly casual question was filled with deep meaning. Lin Feng didn't dare to be careless. If Feng Yarao really found out that he was saving Lu Piaxue, he would definitely die. She would definitely not let him off. This kind of peerless powerhouse, no matter how kind they looked on the surface, once they were angered, they would definitely not have a good ending. Especially an existence like Feng Yarao. If she wanted to do it, she could easily destroy Jinwu country. Originally, I was hiding in a cave to avoid the rain, but I was attacked by a fierce beast. I ran out and looked for a new place to hide from the rain, Lin Feng said. Really? Feng Yarao narrowed her eyes and looked at Lin Feng. Lin Feng felt that his heart was about to jump out of his chest. Lying to a peerless powerhouse like Feng Yarao wasn't something an ordinary person could do. However, Lin Feng knew that he had to stay calm. He had to stay calm. He couldn't panic. Because once Feng Yarao saw through the flaw, with the ability of this kind of peerless expert, wanting to find out his secret would be as easy as blowing off dust. This mountain forest is indeed very dangerous. Your cultivation is still a bit lacking in this place, Feng Yarao said. I overestimated myself. When the rain started falling, I planned to leave, Lin Feng said. Where are you from? Feng Yarao asked. I'm a student of Jinwu country's Jialan city's Jialan Academy, Lin Feng said. Jinwu country's people. Your Jinwu country's emperor is called Long Tianyu, right? A few years ago, he followed the Jinwu country's old ancestor here to pay respects to sister. However, they overestimated themselves. How could a tiny mundane country's monarch and protector be qualified to meet sister? Feng Yarao said with a smile. She didn't put Jinwu country in her eyes at all. This was the grace of a peerless powerhouse. In their eyes, a mundane country like Jinwu country was indeed not worthy of their attention. Lin Feng said. Sister, are you an immortal? Even the monarch and protector of a country can't meet you. Today, I'm able to meet sister here. Is it because I did good deeds in my previous life? Did I have such a great destiny in this life? You really know how to talk. Although I know you're flattering me, I like it very much, Feng Yarao said with a smile. I also like sister like you. I will work hard to cultivate. In the future, I will definitely marry a beauty like you, Lin Feng said. What do you want to say? Do you want to marry me? Feng Yarao looked at Lin Feng with interest. Lin Feng nodded and said, That's right. I want to marry Fairy's sister. I believe that in the future, I will definitely have the ability to do so. Little guy, you've got guts. You dare to talk nonsense in front of me? Feng Yarao seemed a bit angry. She took a step forward, and Lin Feng immediately felt a terrifying pressure pressing down on him. That pressure was about to crush his body. Who do you think you are? You dare to be impudent in front of me? Feng Yarao narrowed her eyes and looked at Lin Feng coldly. When I first saw you, I admired you. Do you want to kill someone who admires you? If you want to kill me, I won't regret it because I told myself that what I said just now was the truth. I will definitely marry Fairy's sister. Lin Feng clenched his teeth and said, Humph. Feng Yarao humphed coldly and blushed. She dispersed her chi and looked at Lin Feng icily. Don't daydream. With your cultivation level, it'll take you hundreds of years to reach the yin-yang layer. You're far from being able to marry me. Lin Feng frowned. How about we make a bet then? Lin Feng said. What bet? Feng Yarao asked. I bet that I can reach the yin-yang boundary within 10 years. Lin Feng said. 10 years? Feng Yarao humphed coldly and said, Do you think you're the reincarnation of a god? If I succeed, I will definitely go and ask for your hand in marriage. Lin Feng said. All right, I'll wait for you, Feng Yarao said with a smile. She turned around and walked away. Her swaying back view really gave people the urge to commit a crime. Fairy sister, what's your name? Lin Feng asked. Feng Yarao. As soon as she finished speaking, Feng Yarao soared into the sky and disappeared. Chapter 63. Phew! Lin Feng heaved a sigh of relief. Feng Yarao had finally left. Just now, he was covered in cold sweat. Rumor has it that all yin-yang experts know how to search souls. Luckily, I was smart enough to distract her. Otherwise, she would have used the soul-searching technique on me. Wouldn't I be dead? Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. However, when he thought of Feng Yaorao's peerless figure and devastatingly beautiful face, Lin Feng's heart palpitated. No man could resist such a woman. How interesting. Wu Yan actually made a bet with a femme fatale like Feng Yaorao. 10 years! Within 10 years, I'll definitely become a yin-yang expert. At that time, I'll definitely go and find Feng Yaorao. I'll definitely take her as my woman. Lin Feng clenched his fists. Feng Yaorao was definitely a woman who could arouse a man's most primal desires. Lin Feng was no exception. He was tempted by Feng Yaorao. He really wanted to experience what it felt like to have a femme fatale like her. A man should be happy to repay kindness and revenge. He should also sleep with the most beautiful woman. Feng Yaorao was such a woman. Lin Feng quickly returned to the cave. Lu Piaomiao was still sleeping. Lu Piaomiao was also a peerless beauty. She was completely different from Feng Yaorao. Feng Yaorao was as charming as a vixen. On the other hand, Lu Piaomiao was as pure and holy as a fairy from the ninth heaven. They were two completely different types of women. However, both of them could be said to be peerless beauties. If possible, Lin Feng even wanted to take both Lu Piaomiao and Feng Yaorao as his women. One dragon having two phoenixes was definitely a supreme pleasure. However, Lin Feng knew that he could only fantasize about it for now. Lin Feng took out a jar and filled it with water. Then, he put the ingredients he had found into the jar according to the ratio and placed it over the bonfire to cook. You're back. Lu Piaomiao looked at Lin Feng with a warm gaze. Yes, I've found everything. It's cooking now. We should be able to drink it soon, said Lin Feng. Did you encounter any danger? Lu Piaomiao asked with concern. I met Feng Yaorao, Lin Feng said. Lu Piaomiao's expression changed slightly. How did you meet her? How did you escape? On the way back, we met by chance. I heard that experts at your level knew how to search souls, so I kept praising her beauty. She seemed to enjoy it, and in the end, she forgot to search my soul and left, Lin Feng said with lingering fear. You have a lot of ideas, but Feng Yaorao is indeed a vain woman. Lu Piaomiao curled her lips and seemed to disdain Feng Yaorao. But clearly, between women, especially between enemies, they naturally like to belittle each other. It was absolutely impossible for Lu Piaomiao to praise Feng Yao. By the way, what's your name? Lin Feng asked. My name is... Lu Piaomiao's eyes flashed, and she said, Louis. Louis? Lin Feng tried his best to recall that name. He had heard of some strong cultivators of the yin-yang layer in the East Province, but he had never heard of Louis. But there was a woman whose surname was also Lu, but her name was Lu Piaomiao, not Louis. Of course, in this world, there were many strong cultivators. How many strong cultivators had he heard of? Lu Piaomiao didn't want to talk about that topic, so she said, Your clothes are soaked. Take them off and change into dry clothes. When she finished talking, she blushed and closed her eyes. Lin Feng was changing his clothes. Of course, she didn't look at him. He looked really beautiful. Lin Feng couldn't help but compare Lu Piaomiao with Feng Yaorao. He realized that both of them were peerless beauties, but they each had their own merits. Lin Feng quickly changed his clothes, and the medicine was ready. Lin Feng poured a bowl of medicine for Lu Piaomiao. Lu Piaomiao drank it, and her complexion became much rosier. The spiritual herbs used to brew the medicine were all items of extreme yang, and they could expel the cold energy in her body. Once the cold energy in her body was expelled, Lu Piaomiao's injuries would gradually heal. Don't suffer from the cold, drink a bowl too, Lu Piaomiao said. Okay. Lin Feng nodded and poured a bowl. After drinking it, he immediately felt a wave of heat rising in his body. Have a good rest, Lin Feng said. Lu Piaomiao nodded and leaned against the rock to rest. Lin Feng sat cross-legged at the side, circulating the ancient dragonesque elephant art and silently cultivating. 3 days later, Lu Piaomiao recovered. When Lin Feng woke up this morning, Lu Piaomiao was already gone. She left without saying goodbye. Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter. The beauty was gone, but the fragrance was still there. Lu Piaomiao left without saying goodbye. Was it because she felt that? He and she were not from the same world? Lin Feng frowned, but he didn't stop and quickly flew into the distance. In the distance, Lu Piaomiao looked over. Seeing Lin Feng leave, she felt a little sad. She was used to seeing scheming, but these few days, Lin Feng's meticulous care made Lu Piaomiao feel a trace of warmth. This trace of warmth caused Lu Piaomiao's calm heart to ripple. However, Lu Piaomiao knew that she could not continue to stay here. This was because she had been engaged to the young master of an ancient power that even the Heaven's sacred city could not contend against since she was young. Although she was strongly against this matter, her strength was too insignificant compared to such a huge power. She was destined to accept the arrangements of her family. Otherwise, the entire family would be implicated. If he really had some emotional entanglements with Lin Feng, then Lin Feng would only have a dead end. Sigh. Chapter 64. From time to time, the roars of beasts could be heard echoing through the forest. Occasionally, powerful beasts could be seen roaming through the forest. Fortunately, Lin Feng had already reached the outer region. Although it was still very dangerous, there were no longer any beasts at the level of the Red Flame Qilin Beast King. This trip to the desolate forest with Wuxuanli had been extremely dangerous, but the rewards were great. Lin Feng had already broken through to the martial master realm. Since joining the inner academy, Lin Feng's cultivation had advanced by leaps and bounds. In less than a year, he had broken through to the martial master realm. One had to know that Lin Feng was not even 16 years old yet. His talent was astonishing. Next, he had to prepare for the triennial Great Competition of the 4 academies. The Great Competition of the 4 academies was very important in Jialan Academy. Lin Feng also wanted to do well at the Great Competition of the 4 universities. When he passed by a valley, a dense number of arrows shot out from the valley, aiming at Lin Feng. Danger! Lin Feng's expression changed slightly. He quickly retreated and dodged the arrows. Who are you? How dare you sneak attack me? Lin Feng shouted coldly. Little bastard, today is the day you die. A cold voice filled with killing intent rang out. Then, more than 10 cultivators rushed out of the forest. The leader was Song Tsunghai. Back then, he had killed Bai Yifei and Song Tsunghai. Lin Feng had never thought that Song Tsunghai, a deacon of Jialan Academy, would dare to attack him in the desolate forest. Apart from Song Tsunghai, there were more than 10 experts with him. They were all guards of the Song family, and were very strong. They had obviously come prepared. Lin Feng looked coldly at Song Tsunghai and said, Song Tsunghai, you dare to attack a student of Jialan Academy? If the academy finds out, you won't be able to escape death. Song Tsunghai said disdainfully. This desolate forest is full of beasts. If you die here, who will know that it was me? Who knows, maybe you were killed by a powerful beast. Do you think you've got me? Lin Feng's lips curled into a sneer. Back then, when he killed Bai Yifei, he was only at the 6th firmament of warrior, and was not a match for Song Tsunghai. But now, Lin Feng had broken through to the martial master realm. Therefore, in this battle, Lin Feng was not the least bit afraid. Song Tsunghai sneered at Lin Feng. Do you really think you can escape? Did I say I was going to escape? I think that this place will be the place where you will die. The corner of Lin Feng's mouth revealed a dense killing intent. Hearing Lin Feng's words, Song Tsunghai's face was filled with murderous intent. You overestimate yourself. You're really courting death. Attack! Kill him! Yes, sir! After receiving the order, 4 guards immediately rushed out and surrounded Lin Feng. This time, Song Tsunghai had brought the Bai family's men of sacrifice. These people were all at the 10th firmament of warrior, and were already very powerful. The 4 men of sacrifice surrounded Lin Feng. Some of them were holding swords, while others were holding sabers. The cold air was oppressive as they directly slashed at Lin Feng. Lin Feng sneered. Facing the 4 men of sacrifice, he also moved. Lin Feng held his long sword and suddenly pulled it out. The sword light soared into the sky and shot out in all directions. The divine sun rose into the sky. It illuminated the heavens. Lin Feng used the scorching sun swordsmanship. The power of this swordsmanship was needless to say. Everyone felt that the dazzling light was so dazzling that they could not open their eyes. The 4 men of sacrifice felt a pain in their necks. In the next moment, they lost consciousness and fell to the ground, dead. What? When Song Tsunghai saw this scene, he was full of disbelief. These were 4 experts at the 10th firmament of warrior. Unexpectedly, Lin Feng had killed them so easily. This made Song Tsunghai angry and distressed. Even for a big family like the Bai family, it required a huge price to cultivate a man of sacrifice at the 10th firmament of warrior. Song Tsunghai was naturally distressed that Lin Feng had killed 4 men of sacrifice at once. All of you attack! I want his life! Song Tsunghai shouted coldly. There were still 10 men of sacrifice besides Song Tsunghai. At this moment, all of them moved out and surrounded Lin Feng. If Lin Feng had not broken through, he would have encountered a lot of trouble dealing with 10 experts at the 10th firmament of warrior. But now, Lin Feng had broken through to the martial master realm. His strength had reached an astonishing 1,280,000 gene of strength. When Lin Feng's 3 devouring martial souls were activated, his strength could reach up to 384 million gene. These men of sacrifice at the 10th firmament of warrior only had a strength of 100,000 gene. In the eyes of ordinary people, they were considered experts. But in Lin Feng's eyes they were too weak. Swish! Lin Feng moved and rushed into the crowd. His speed was too fast. He was so fast that the men of sacrifice could not react in time. An afterimage flew through the crowd. Puff! With a tearing sound, the 10 men of sacrifice at the 10th firmament of warrior fell to the ground and died. They could not even touch the corner of Lin Feng's clothes. This is impossible! Song Tsunghai roared in disbelief. 10 men of sacrifice at the 10th firmament of warrior. But they were killed by Lin Feng in seconds. Even Song Tsunghai felt that he might not be able to do it. Lin Feng held his blood-dripping battle sword and looked at Song Tsunghai coldly. Did you think that you would die under my sword one day? Kid, I have indeed underestimated you. But do you think that you can defeat me? What a joke. I am at the 3rd firmament of martial master. My strength has reached 4 million gene. So what if you have broken through to the martial master realm? In my eyes, you are still as weak as an ant. Song Tsunghai sneered. A light flashed in his hand and a blood-red long blade appeared. Song Tsunghai's frenzied blade cut was a very famous martial technique in Jialan Academy. Brat, to die under my blade, your death is not unjust. Song Tsunghai sneered. He held his blood-red long blade and used the frenzied blade cut to kill Lin Feng. The blade light was heavy and cold. It was as if it could split a 10,000-meter-tall mountain in half. Is the 3rd firmament of martial master very strong? Lin Feng sneered, holding his battle sword. Whoosh! Lin Feng also moved. Scorching sun sword technique. Scorching sun in the sky. Divine sword unsheathed. The dazzling sun floated behind Lin Feng, illuminating the earth with its dazzling light. Clang! Lin Feng and Song Tsunghai fiercely collided with a sonorous sound. After the collision, the two separated. Whoosh! Lin Feng sheathed his battle sword in the scabbard on his back. How could this be? Song Tsunghai looked at Lin Feng in disbelief. Pooh! A sword mark appeared on Song Tsunghai's neck. Then blood spurted out. Song Tsunghai fell to the ground and breathed his last. Before he died, his eyes were wide open, as if he couldn't believe that he would die at the hands of Lin Feng. Chapter 65. Jialan Academy was bustling with activity because the 4 Academies tournament was approaching. Every time the tournament was held, Jialan Academy would be at its busiest. In the courtyard outside the scripture pavilion, Lin Feng was sparring with Elder Tian Xian. Although it was called a sparring session, it was actually Elder Tian Xian giving Lin Feng pointers. Beside them, the strange bird shouted, "Fatso is going to lose! Fatso is going to lose!" Elder Tian Xian was so angry that his eyes widened. After the battle, Lin Feng sheathed his sword and said, "Thank you for your pointers, Elder." "Haha, you don't need to be so polite. Besides, I didn't give you any pointers. Your understanding of the scorching sun sword technique is beyond my imagination." Elder Tian Xian smiled. Lin Feng said modestly, "You've corrected many of my mistakes. I'll be able to avoid many detours in my cultivation." Elder Tian Xian smiled and said, "The 4 Academies tournament is coming soon. You should know that with your talent, it would be a pity if you didn't learn a support skill. Do you have any plans for that?" There were many support skills, such as equipment forging, alchemy, and so on. Of course, there was also the formation of a spirit array master. The most difficult part was becoming a formation master, which required one to have an extremely strict soul power. Next was becoming an alchemist. Lin Feng said, "Vice Principal Gong Yangming told me that when the principal returns, he'll put in a good word for me in hopes that I'll be able to learn formations under him. That old bastard has a very strange temper. He should be back soon. When he comes back, I'll tell him about this matter." Elder Tian Xian said, "Thank you for your kind words, Elder." Lin Feng hurriedly thanked Elder Tian Xian. Lin Feng stayed at Elder Tian Xian's place until nightfall. He was very lucky to be able to join Changhe branch. The students here were harmonious, and there were a few seniors who cared about him. After returning to his residence, Zhang Qi went to Lin Feng's room and said, "Junior brother, senior sister Xiao sent someone to look for you, but they couldn't find you, so they went back. They said that senior sister Xiao will be waiting for you." Lin Feng nodded and said, "All right, I'll go to senior sister Xiao and see what's going on." Lin Feng went to Xiao Yafei's place. Gongsun Changde was there as well. "Brother, the great competition of the 4 academies is in half a month. It's your first time participating in it, so I called you here to tell you about the rules," said Lin Feng. Gongsun Changde said. Lin Feng nodded and said, "Please tell me, senior brother. Currently there are less than 3,000 people in total. Our Changhe branch has the least number of people, only 500. Among them, only senior sister Xiao and I are ranked in the top 20. There are 9 people in total who are ranked in the top 100. According to the rules of the 4 academies, the top 100 are seeded students. If the students below the top 100 have the confidence to challenge the top 100 students, they can challenge them. If they win, they'll be ranked in the top 100, but if they lose, they'll lose the right to participate in the great competition of the 4 academies." Lin Feng said, "That's a very harsh condition." Xiao Yafei said, "The academy is mainly considering if some students who aren't strong enough can challenge the top 100 students of the inner courtyard. It's okay to delay, but if the top 100 students of the inner courtyard don't hold back, they can easily injure the challengers. After all, swords have no eyes." "All right." Lin Feng nodded. Gongsun Zhangde continued, "Of course, the top 100 seed students can also challenge each other. As long as the other side agrees, they can fight. The first part of the exam is to challenge the top 100 seed students. After the challenge part, there will be a normal ranking battle. This kind of battle will be decided by drawing lots. The winner will advance to the next round. The more they win, the more points they will get. Then, they will be ranked according to their final points." "That's interesting. Every time the great competition of the 4 academies takes place, many students challenge the top 100 seeded students, right?" asked Lin Feng. "That's right. Every year, some people challenge the top 100 seeded students, but the success rate isn't very high," Gongsun Changge said. This was quite understandable, because the top 100 students were already strong enough. In addition, the benefits of the top 100 students in the inner yard were the great strength latent dragon pill, while the benefits of the students below the top 100 were the chi replenishing pill. which couldn't be compared to the great strength latent dragon pill at all. The students who used the great strength latent dragon pill to cultivate naturally improved their strength faster, and in this way, the top 100 students would become stronger and stronger. Of course, there was no lack of geniuses who overtook the top 100 students and successfully pushed them out of the top 100. However, there were only a few of them. Xiao Yufei said, "With your strength, it shouldn't be a problem for you to push out one of the top 100 students. Therefore, when the great competition of the 4 academies begins, you can participate in the challenge and defeat one of the top 100 students. This way, you won't have to draw lots later." "All right." Lin Feng nodded and said, "Okay, then I'll defeat one of the students." Lin Feng said casually. For him, this wasn't a difficult task because there were only 72 martial masters in Jialan Academy. Including Lin Feng, there were 73 students. If Lin Feng wanted to enter the top 100, it would be very easy for him. Xiao Yufei and Gong Sun Chang'e didn't have any objections. Lin Feng left Xiao Yufei's place and spent half a month in seclusion cultivating. Lin Feng didn't just practice swordsmanship, he also studied the forbidden theurgy, the great covering the sky hand. On the night before the great competition of the 4 academies, Lin Feng suddenly felt a strong calling coming from the West Mountain. "It's the 9 Emperor Avatar!" Lin Feng's face lit up with joy. He had cultivated the 9 Emperor Avatar in the West Mountain. He had originally thought that it would only take 3 or 4 months for the 9 Emperor Avatar to take shape. He hadn't thought that it would take longer than he had expected. Now that half a year had passed, the 9 Emperor Avatar had finally started to move. Lin Feng took advantage of the darkness and went to the West Mountain. This was the burial ground of the Jialan Academy's ancestors. A cold wind blew and a baleful qi filled the air. At night, no one came to this place. Lin Feng quickly went to the depths of the West Mountain. He could feel the strong calling coming from the West Mountain. "Master, Master!" When Lin Feng arrived at the depths of the West Mountain, the calling became even more intense. In the depths of the West Mountain, demonic qi surged. Within the demonic qi, there were 9 terrifying existences. Each of the figures emitted an ancient qi. It was as if the qi had come from ancient times. The entire West Mountain was enveloped in that ancient and terrifying qi. Chapter 66. The West Mountain was the place with the densest yin qi. For thousands of years, countless experts had been buried here. Now, the avatar of the 9 emperors that was hidden in the black fog was madly absorbing the yin qi. Endless baleful yin qi gathered and formed a huge vortex above West Mountain. A terrifying suction force surged out, and the baleful yin qi that filled the sky poured into the body of the 9 emperors' avatar. The avatar of the 9 emperors belonged to the demonic path's method of refining avatars. It was not tolerated by the righteous path. The avatars that were refined usually had evil attributes. According to rumors, the demonic path's method of refining avatars could easily allow the avatar to control the original body, causing the original body to become the avatar's slave. In the end, the original body would turn into an evil spirit. This was also the reason why the demonic path's method of refining avatars was not tolerated by the righteous path. Lin Feng naturally knew that refining the avatar of the 9 emperors was a huge risk. However, he believed that he could definitely suppress the avatar of the 9 emperors with his own strength. Finally, Lin Feng saw the 9 avatars in the black fog. The first avatar was a golden-winged rock with a pair of wings. With a flap of its wings, it could fly 108,000 miles. The second avatar was a spiritual creature formed by a combination of a turtle and a snake. It was called the Black Tortoise. The Black Tortoise was a legendary sacred beast. It had the longest lifespan and the strongest defensive power in the world. The third avatar was the size of a cow with a tiger-like appearance. It had the fur of a hedgehog and wings. It was the primordial fierce beast, Qiongqi. It was rumored to be one of the 4 great primordial fierce beasts. It was ferocious and fed on gods. The fourth avatar had the body of a snake and the head of a human. It had 3 eyes. It was the heavenly eye demonic snake. It was rumored that the third eye of the heavenly eye demonic snake could see through the world of yin and yang and see through all illusions. The fifth avatar was a white tiger. The white tiger was also a sacred beast that specialized in killing. The sixth existence was a qilin. It was covered in scales and had a pair of wings. It was known as the Taotai. It was rumored that the Taotai could swallow a star when it opened its mouth. The seventh existence was a void divine beast. It shuttled through the void. It had the ability to enter the boundless starry sky world. The eighth existence was shaped like a human, but it had 18 pairs of wings. It was rumored that this was the Angel of Light, and it possessed supreme and mysterious power. The ninth clone was a phoenix that had been reborn from the flames. It was said that phoenixes were immortal and possessed the body of a phoenix. They could transform into an immortal body. Right now, the 9 clones were rapidly condensing and growing. The 9 avatars all possessed unimaginable abilities. It was recorded in the 9 sovereigns diagram that the power of the 9 sovereigns was extremely terrifying. They could recover part of the power of the 9 great sage emperors. The great pink divine bird spread its wings and soared into the sky. With a flap of its wings, it could fly 108,000 miles. The black tortoise sacred beast had a long lifespan and possessed the strongest defensive power. Cultivating the black tortoise avatar could not only increase one's lifespan, but it could also cultivate the strongest defensive power. The 4 ancient vicious Cheongqis had mastered the Cheongqi treasure technique. It was rumored that this was a secret technique that could slay gods in ancient times. By cultivating the Cheongqi avatar, one could comprehend this supreme secret technique. The 4th clone was the Celestial Eye Demon Snake avatar. It could cultivate the Celestial Eye and see through the world of yin and yang. It could see through reality and illusion. The 5th doppelganger, the White Tiger Doppelganger. The White Tiger was in charge of killing. Once the White Tiger Doppelganger was activated, it could activate the world of massacre. It was said that anyone who was trapped in the world of massacre would be restrained by the world of massacre, and their fighting strength would be greatly reduced. As for the person who activated the world of massacre, their fighting strength would be greatly increased in the world of massacre. If it was used in a battle of life and death, it would have the effect of reversing the situation. The 6th clone was the Taotai avatar. It was rumored that the Taotai was the son of a dragon. The dragon had 9 sons, but the 9 sons were different. The Taotai was proficient in devouring. Once the Taotai avatar was activated, no matter what Lin Feng devoured, it could be transformed into his own power. The 7th clone was the Void Beast avatar. Once the Void Beast avatar was activated, Lin Feng could even leave the Sky Martial continent and enter the legendary Starry Sky world to travel through the starry sky. The 8th clone was the Radiant Angel avatar. It was rumored that the Radiant Angel was a deity who controlled the power of judgment. Once the Radiant Angel avatar was activated, Lin Feng would control the supreme power of judgment. The 9th clone was the Phoenix avatar. The Phoenix had an undying body. If Lin Feng controlled the Phoenix avatar, he would have an undying body. These were the 9 Emperor avatars. Each of the avatars could bring Lin Feng incomparable power. The 9 Emperor avatars were heaven-defying. Of course, after refining the 9 Emperor avatars, it was not easy to open all of them. Lin Feng needed to find the 9 Emperor soul fragments. Only by devouring these soul fragments could he open the 9 Emperor avatars. If Lin Feng opened the Golden Winged Rock avatar, he would have the same speed as the Golden Winged Rock. If Lin Feng opened the Phoenix avatar, he would have an undying body. Any ability could be said to be heaven-defying. Of course, the successful refinement of the 9 Emperor avatars was only the first step. Next, finding the 9 Emperor soul fragments was the most important thing. Lin Feng had to find the pieces of the 9 Emperor's soul, and then he would be able to use the 9 Emperor's clones. Rumble! That terrifying aura permeated the area as boundless baleful yin qi gathered together. Such a vast aura was naturally incomparably shocking. What's happening? Many of the upper echelons of the academy were alarmed. Even the old ancestor who was cultivating in seclusion was alarmed. It's the West Mountain. Let's go take a look. Swoosh, 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 one figure after another shot toward the West Mountain. Boom! All the baleful Inchi was devoured by the 9 Emperor avatars. The 9 Emperor avatars were successfully refined. They stepped out of the billowing demonic fog. The entire West Mountain seemed to be trembling at this moment. Haha, the ancient 9 Emperor avatar has finally been successfully refined. Lin Feng laughed. Come back. He established a connection with the 9 Emperor avatars. Upon receiving Lin Feng's command, the 9 Emperor avatars turned into 9 demonic lights and flew into Lin Feng's dantian. We can't stay here any longer. Let's go! Lin Feng quickly rushed out of the West Mountain. Which scoundrel dares to stir up trouble in my Jialan Academy? A low roar rang out. A terrifying aura filled the sky. Powerhouses from Jialan Academy quickly flew over. There was more than one of them. Obviously, the huge commotion in the West Mountain had attracted the attention of Jialan Academy's powerhouses. They might have thought that a demonic master had infiltrated the West Mountain. Only a demonic cultivator would be interested in the burial grounds of corpses. Phew! Lin Feng ran out of the West Mountain. He let out a long sigh. If he had been stopped by the Jialan Academy's powerhouses, his refining of the 9 Emperor avatars would have been exposed. Anyone who refined avatars using demonic methods would be killed. This was an unwritten rule in the world of cultivators. If he had been stopped by these people, Lin Feng knew that he would have died. Fortunately, he had escaped in time. Chapter 67. More than a dozen strong cultivators were hovering in the air. Some came on their flying swords, while others came on their magic robes. All of them were the upper echelons of the Jialan Academy. For example, the vice-deans of the 4 major departments, and even the deans of the 4 major departments, and the 2 vice-deans of the 4 major departments had all arrived. What the hell is going on? Gong Yangming asked in a dignified voice. Vice Principal Wang Lin looked over to a tall and burly old man and asked, Old man, son, what do you think? This old man was the principal of the Long River branch, Sun Tiantu. He was also the only formation master of the Long River branch. In the Jinwu country, there were a total of 3 formation masters who had reached the advanced level, and Sun Tiantu was one of them. Even the royal family of the Rio Wushu country was extremely respectful to him. Countless people wanted to become Sun Tiantu's disciple to learn the art of spiritual array, but they were all rejected by Sun Tiantu. There are traces of a formation here. The person who set up the formation most likely didn't know how to set up formations, so he tried to imitate them but failed miserably. However, I don't think he wanted to set up a grand formation, but rather, he buried something here. Although the grand formation wasn't successfully set up, it's already enough. Look again, the baleful Inchi in the western mountains was originally very dense, but now, it's extremely thin. You mean to say that someone used some unknown method to devour all the baleful Inchi in this place? The other vice principal, Bai Changfeng, asked with a gloomy expression. The principal of the Purple Light Branch, Dong Fangye, spoke up. Could it be a demonic cultivator has infiltrated our West Mountain? Only a demonic cultivator would be able to absorb the Yin energy here. These bastards sure have guts. They actually dared to set their sights on the burial ground of our ancestors. Fortunately, the tomb hasn't been damaged yet. The most important thing right now is to send people to patrol the West Mountain to prevent the demonic cultivators from targeting the tomb. At the same time, we need to increase the number of patrols in the city to see if we can find any demonic cultivators. If we do, we must kill them without mercy. The principal of the Fallen Moon branch, Wan Yindi, spoke up. Vice Dean Wang Lin said, We need to talk to the city lord about this. Now that the 4 Academies tournament is around the corner, we can't let anything go wrong. At this moment, Lin Feng had already returned to his residence. He naturally didn't know what the Academy's experts were talking about. Of course, he also didn't know what kind of undercurrent would be surging in Sangharan City because of this incident. After returning, Lin Feng was not in the mood to sleep. He was constantly sensing the 9 Emperor avatar. Now that the Nine Emperor avatar was floating in his dantian, the Saint Emperor's aura was boundless. Lin Feng tried to communicate with the Nine Emperor avatar, but failed. I need to find the Nine Emperor's souls to communicate with their clones. Next, I need to find the Nine Emperor's souls. Even though I won't be able to find all of them, I just need to find a few. Each of the Nine Emperor avatars possessed unimaginable power. Activating any one of them would give one a heaven-defying ability. Lin Feng was naturally looking forward to it. Time flew, and in the blink of an eye, it was the day of the 4 Academies tournament. On this day, the inner courtyard of Sangaren Academy was bustling with noise and excitement. More than 2,300 inner courtyard students had signed up to participate in the tournament. Of course, there were still a few hundred people who hadn't signed up yet. Most of them were outside and hadn't returned in time. Huoxuanli was one of them. Nobody knew where that guy had run off to. Lin Feng wasn't surprised that he hadn't come back. Huoxuanli had left the academy for more than a year before returning. The tournament of the 4 academies was an extremely important event for Sangaren Academy. Vice Dean Wang Lin was in charge of it. In addition, all the deans and vice deans of the 4 academies had come to observe the students' cultivation and aptitude. Brother, do you see that? That's the dean of our Changhe branch, Sun Tiantu. Gong Sun Zhanga pointed at an old man on the main stage. Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat. He had naturally heard of Sun Tiantu. He was one of the top 3 Ling formation masters in Jinwu country. Sun Tiantu's research on Ling formations had reached perfection. It seems like the dean attaches great importance to the tournament of the 4 academies. He even rushed back from outside. Lin Feng said. After all, it's a tournament that happens every 3 years. Gong Sun Zhanga said. Ladies and gentlemen, the great competition of the 4 academies is about to begin. This time, the great competition of the 4 academies will be divided into the challenge competition and the points competition. You can challenge any one of the top 100 students. If you can defeat them, you can replace them and enter the top 100. After the challenge competition, there will be the points competition. I want to challenge Dong Xian from Changhe branch. A student jumped onto the stage. His name was Zhang Di. It was said that he had recently obtained a great fortune and his cultivation level had increased by a lot. Dong Xian's face turned ugly when he was challenged. Dong Xian was one of the 9 top 100 students of Changhe branch. He was ranked 97th. His strength wasn't to be underestimated. Brother Zhang, please. Dong Xian bowed hand over fist. Zhang Di and Dong Xian started fighting. Zhang Di was a student of Purple Light University. The students of Purple Light University cheered for Zhang Di while the students of Changhe branch cheered for Dong Xian. Gong Sun Zhanga sighed. Changhe branch is the weakest of the 4 universities. We only have 9 people in the top 100. Apart from me and Sister Xiao, the others are ranked at the bottom. We haven't had any outstanding students recently. I'm afraid that the Purple Light University's ranking will be even worse than last time, said Lin Feng. Everybody thinks that Sword Dao is a small Dao, but they don't know that there are tens of thousands of Daos in the world, but they all lead to the same destination. As long as you practice Sword Dao to the peak, you can explode with incredible strength. There aren't many people who can see things as clearly as you, said Gong Sun Zhanga. Lin Feng nodded. On the stage, Dong Xian and Zhang Di exchanged over 100 blows. Dong Xian was punched in the stomach by Zhang Di, and his pure qi dispersed. He couldn't fight anymore. Thank you for letting me win. Zhang Di had a smile on his face. This was the attitude of a victor. Dong Xian was defeated. His expression was extremely gloomy. He clasped his fists and walked down. Brother's sister, I've embarrassed Changhe branch, said Dong Xian. Dong Xian said guiltily. Xiao Yufei said. Brother, don't worry. Winning and losing are normal in battles. Gong Sun Zhanga said. That's right. Besides, you're about to break through to the greater Qi layer. When you do, you'll be able to soar into the sky. I'll do my best. Dong Xian clenched his fists and left. People kept going up to challenge the top 100 students, but it was obvious that they were all defeated. It was very rare to be able to defeat one of the top 100 students. At that moment, Bailong jumped onto the stage. He was a martial master and ranked 47th in the inner courtyard. Now that he was on the stage, it caused a huge commotion. Bailong looked coldly at Chang He Branch. He paused for a moment on Lin Feng's face and then looked at Gong Sun Zhangge, who was next to Lin Feng. Bailong said, "Gong Sun Zhangge, I challenge you to a duel. Do you dare fight me?" Boom! Suddenly, the crowd exploded. Nobody had thought that Bailong would challenge Gong Sun Zhangge, who was ranked 19 in the inner courtyard. It was definitely going to be a showdown. Why should I be afraid? Gong Sun Zhangge was obviously stunned for a moment, but then a cold smile appeared on his face. He leaped out and landed on the arena. Chapter 68. Bailong had obtained an immortal flying sword some time ago, and had practiced the sword control technique, which had greatly improved his cultivation. This time, Bailong naturally wanted to improve during the 4 Academies tournament. His target was Gong Sun Zhangge. Among the top 20, the top 10 were too strong. Bailong wasn't sure if he could defeat the top 10, so after weighing the pros and cons, he decided to give up. And between the 11th to 20th place, the students ranked 20th and Bailong were all students of the Violet Light Institution. Naturally, Bailong wouldn't engage in internal strife with his fellow disciples. Thus, Bailong targeted Gong Sun Zhangge. Of course, there was another reason besides strength. Gong Sun Zhangge and Lin Feng were very close, and the Bai clan and Lin Feng were mortal enemies. Bailong couldn't wait to kill anyone related to Lin Feng. Bailong has obtained a flying sword and has cultivated the sword control technique. His cultivation base has improved greatly. I wonder who will win if he fights Gong Sun Zhangge? Gong Sun Zhangge's solar unending river sword has already reached perfection. It won't be easy for Bailong to defeat Gong Sun Zhangge, even if he has an immortal flying sword. Below the stage, many students were discussing spiritedly. The upper echelons of Jialan Academy who were seated on the main stage also looked over. This battle could be said to be the most eye-catching battle of the 4 academies so far. Naturally, it attracted everyone's attention. Swoosh! Only to see Bailong move, his figure was like a ghost, quickly flashing across the stage. He moved left and right, erratic and unpredictable. Ghostly steps! Many people cried out in surprise. Ghost Shadow Steps was famous in Sangharan City. Ghostly Steps was one of the secret techniques passed down by the Bai clan, one of the 10 great clans of Jialan City. It was a mystic class movement technique. Once used, one's movements were like a ghost. Most people wouldn't even be able to see the opponent's figure clearly before being struck. Bailong quickly moved around Gong Sun Zhangge. His speed was so fast that he actually left behind afterimages. Heavens, which one is Bailong? It's too fast. I can't even tell which one is Bailong's real body. In the surroundings, discussions broke out. Many people were shocked by the might of Bailong's ghostly steps. It truly surpassed their imaginations. Junior brother, what do you think? Zhang Kai looked at Lin Feng worriedly. Su Zimo had a worried look on his face as well. This Bailong is truly formidable. Senior brother Gong Sun, it won't be easy for you to deal with him, right? Lin Feng said. Gong Sun was able to stand out among over 100,000 students and enter the top 20 of the inner court. How could he be defeated so easily? Lin Feng's voice fell. Bang! On the stage, the sound of an incomparably violent collision rang out. Everyone saw that Gong Sun Zhangge had locked onto Bailong's real body and punched out. Bailong was taken aback. He countered Gong Sun Zhangge's attack with his own fist, colliding fiercely with Gong Sun Zhangge. Ding 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 ding! When the two sides collided, Bailong was forced back by Gong Sun Zhangge's punch. Many people were shocked, but at the same time, they sighed with emotion. Gong Sun Zhangge was truly worthy of being one of the top 20 geniuses of the inner court. He was actually able to see through Bailong's ghostly steps. Furthermore, he was able to break through Bai Yilong's ghostly steps with a single punch. After succeeding in his attack, Gong Sun Chang'e quickly rushed forward. Gong Sun Chang'e was extremely experienced in battle, so he naturally understood the principle of beating a drowning dog. He pressed forward, not giving Bai Yilong any chance to retaliate. He completely suppressed Bai Yilong. Bai Yilong was suppressed to the point that he could only defend himself. He had no ability to retaliate at all. For a moment, he was in an extremely sorry state. Good job. Senior brother Gong Sun is mighty. The students of Changhe branch cheered loudly. Lin Feng said, Bai Yilong's most powerful technique is his flying sword technique. Senior brother Gong Sun, if you can defeat Bai Yilong in a spurt of energy, and don't give him time to use his flying sword, then you'll win this battle. If Bai Yilong uses his flying sword to fight, then it'll be troublesome. Xiao Yefei nodded and said, That's right. Flying swords can kill enemies from a distance. It's indeed troublesome. Gong Sun Chang'e obviously understood this, so he continued to attack Bai Yilong. He wanted to completely defeat him. Bai Yilong was surrounded by danger, and he was on the verge of collapse. Just as Gong Sun Chang'e was about to win, Bai Yilong suddenly took out a talisman. That talisman turned into a ball of light and smashed towards Gong Sun Chang'e. Not good, it's a magical talisman. Senior brother Gong Sun, be careful. Many students of Changhe branch cried out in alarm. Magical talismans were talismans drawn by spiritual formations masters. They possessed extremely powerful destructive power. Once a fireball talisman was activated, the ball of light it produced could instantly raise a 1,000-meter-tall mountain to the ground. It was obvious how powerful this talisman was. Despicable and shameless! Many people cursed Bai Yilong. However, the grand tournament of the 4 academies depended on one's ability. There were no rules that forbade the use of magical talismans. Although it was despicable to use magical talismans, it was still within the rules. Gong Sun Chang'e's expression changed slightly, but his reaction was extremely fast. Gong Sun Chang'e moved to the left. The ball of light flew past Gong Sun Chang'e's body, then suddenly exploded in midair. A heatwave swept out. The earth trembled violently from the energy released by the explosion of the fireball. However, Gong Sun Chang'e dodged in time, and the explosion of the ball of light was unable to harm him. Whoosh! In the void, a cold light flashed, and a flying sword quickly flew out, slashing towards Gong Sun Chang'e. The flying sword was so fast that it was almost impossible for people to react. Many people's expressions changed greatly. Immortal flying swords could kill people from a distance. Once a flying sword was used, blood would definitely be spilled. Many people started to worry for Gong Sun Chang'e. Great Sun River! At that moment, Gong Sun Chang'e let out a long roar, drew his sword, and slashed out. Rumble! A long river appeared in the void, sweeping through heaven and earth. At the end of the long river, a great sun slowly descended, as if the sun was setting. The flying sword that was slashing down from the void was actually suppressed by the huge sun in midair, unable to move at all. What a great Sun River sword technique! Senior brother Gongsun's sword technique is unparalleled in the world. He directly broke through Bai Yilong's sword control technique, Zhang said in pleasant surprise. The students of Changhe branch cheered. Lin Feng nodded. Gong Sun Chang'e was indeed powerful. As long as he captured Bai Yilong's flying sword, Bai Yilong would definitely be defeated. Gong Sun Chang'e stepped forward, grabbing the flying sword suppressed by the great sun. At that moment, Bai Yilong's face revealed a sinister smile. Whoosh! A second cold light soared into the sky, slashing towards Gong Sun Chang'e. What? There's a second flying sword? Many people cried out in surprise. One had to know that immortal flying swords were priceless. Many of the upper echelons of Jialan Academy did not have one. Yet Bai Yilong had 2 flying swords. It was simply inconceivable. Back on the main stage, Vice President Bai Changfeng's face showed a trace of a smile. This person was also a member of the Bai House, an elder that held an important position within the Imperial Academy. As for the second flying sword, It was given to Bai Long by Bai Chang Feng prior to the competition. Humph! The principal of the Long River Branch Academy, Sun Tiantu, and Gong Yangming, the vice principal of the Long River Branch Academy, both made a cold snort. Of course they recognized the origin of the second flying sword, but out of consideration for their relationship as colleagues, they didn't name Bai Chang Feng. Not good, senior brother Gong's son is in danger. Seeing the second flying sword, Lin Feng's face slightly changed. The second flying sword quickly came slashing over, forcing Gong's son Chang'e to retreat. But it was already too late. Puff! The second flying sword left a huge wound on Gong's son Zhangge's left ribs. Blood immediately gushed out as Gong's son Zhangge was sent flying. He had been severely injured by the sword. He couldn't control his body and fell to the ground. Damn it, this Bai Long is too despicable. He must have borrowed a second flying sword from his family before the competition. Senior brother Gongsun's loss is too unjust. The students of the Changhe branch were all filled with righteous indignation. Originally, everyone thought that the battle was over. After all, Gongsun Zhangge was injured and had no more strength to fight. However, no one expected that Bai Long had no intention of stopping. He controlled the flying sword and once again slashed towards Gongsun Zhangge. In the air, Gongsun Zhangge had completely become a live target. Bai Long didn't intend to let Gongsun Zhangge go so easily. Since he's already defeated Gongsun Zhangge, Bai Long intends to make sure this competitor doesn't have a chance to make a comeback. Although he can't kill Gongsun Zhangge. But so what if he can cut Gongsun Zhangge a few more times? In any case, swords and sabers don't have eyes. It would be best if he can use sword chi to injure Gongsun Zhangge's meridians, and make it difficult for him to progress in the future. At that time, Gongsun Zhangge won't be able to challenge him anymore. It had to be said that Bai Long was quite sinister. It was just a competition, nothing more. In order to prevent Gongsun Zhangge from challenging him in the future, he wanted to cripple Gongsun Zhangge. What is Bai Long doing? Damn it, Bai Long is too despicable. Senior brother Gongsun is already injured, and he's still using the flying sword to attack him. The students of the Changhe Branch University were all infuriated. Bai Long's face was filled with a sinister smile. He controlled the flying sword to slash at Gongsun Zhangge. Just as the sword was about to land on Gongsun Zhangge's body, a figure suddenly appeared. An afterimage that was as fast as lightning flashed onto the arena. It's junior brother Lin Feng! Zhang Shirley and the others cried out in alarm. Lin Feng blocked Gongsun Zhangge's flying sword. He raised his right fist and punched towards Bai Long's flying sword. A fist had shaken a flying sword. Everyone's eyes were wide open. They looked as if they had seen a ghost. Old son, that boy is Lin Feng, Gong Yangming said to Sun Tiantu. Oh? He's Lin Feng? Interesting. Sun Tiantu looked at Lin Feng with interest. Lin Feng's fist was surrounded by Dracofint energy. Clang! He threw a punch at the flying sword. Bai Long's flying sword was sent flying by Lin Feng's punch. What a guy, Lin Feng is so strong. Many people cried out in alarm. Lin Feng supported Gongsun Zhangge and asked with concern. Senior brother, are you alright? Don't worry, I won't die, Gongsun Zhangge said with a pale face. Senior brother, go and treat your injuries. Leave the rest to me. I'll make this guy pay for his despicable actions. Lin Feng's expression was ice cold. Chapter 69. Lin Feng, I didn't look for you, but you came here to die. Bai Long's face was filled with a sinister expression. He and Lin Feng could be said to be enemies on a narrow road. The hatred between them was getting deeper and deeper. Lin Feng is going up. Is Lin Feng crazy? How could he possibly be a match for Bai Long? Yeah, it feels like he's just courting death. Many people were discussing spiritedly. Almost no one was optimistic about Lin Feng's chances of victory. After all, Bai Long was a martial master. As for Lin Feng, although he was known as a genius, he had only cultivated for a short period of time. It wouldn't be easy for him to fight against Bai Long. Of course, the most important thing was that Bai Long was controlling 2 flying swords. Even someone as strong as Gong Sunchanga had been defeated by Bai Long. How could Lin Feng fight against Bai Long? In an instant, the crowd below the stage was discussing spiritedly. The higher-ups of the academy who were watching the battle from the main stage also looked over. That person is Lin Feng? In the crowd, a tall and sturdy young man slightly raised his eyebrows. That person was Xianyuan Zhan, who was ranked 2nd in the inner courtyard. His strength was unfathomable. That's right, senior. A student next to Xianyuan Zhan said. He has some guts. No wonder he dared to attack Xianyuan Yu. However, we still have to see if he can defeat Bai Long. If he can't even defeat Bai Long, then he doesn't have the qualifications to be my opponent. A cold smile appeared on Xianyuan Zhan's face. On the stage, Lin Feng looked at Bai Long and sneered. It's too early for you to be complacent. We still don't know who will be the winner. Could it be that you think you can defeat me? How laughable. I don't even need to use my flying swords to defeat you. No, more accurately speaking, I can defeat you with one hand. Bai Long's face was filled with disdain. He immediately put away his flying swords. The spectating students, and even the higher-ups of the academy didn't think that Bai Long was arrogant. Bai Long was a martial master. Dealing with Lin Feng, a martial warrior cultivator, wasn't it a piece of cake? Swoosh! Bai Long moved, rushing towards Lin Feng. There was a cold light in his eyes. Bai Long directly used Dragon Soaring 9 Heavens and charged towards Lin Feng. He swung his body and exerted force through his arms. He was like a giant dragon, swinging his body and then suddenly erupting with terrifying power. Boom! An explosive sound rang out in the air. From this, one could see how terrifying Bai Long's attack was. I'm afraid that Lin Feng won't even be able to withstand a single attack from Bai Long, right? That's right. With Bai Long's strength, dealing with Lin Feng would be a piece of cake. Many of the students were discussing animatedly. Everyone felt that there was no suspense in this battle of great disparity in strength. Even Xiao Yafei and the others frowned. After all, Bai Long's strength was indeed not to be underestimated. At this moment, Lin Feng made his move. He raised his right fist and punched towards Bai Long. Bang! Lin Feng and Bai Long fiercely collided. That tyrannical power suddenly exploded, causing the ground to tremble slightly. Everyone saw that Lin Feng was standing in his original position, not moving an inch, while Bai Long was actually forced to retreat continuously. How is this possible? Cries of disbelief rang out one after another. Everyone looked at the handsome young man in the ring with astonishment in their eyes. Bai Long was a famous expert in Jialan Academy. He was a powerful martial master at the third firmament, and his strength had reached 2 million jin. However, when he clashed with Lin Feng, he was actually at a disadvantage. This was simply unbelievable. Dean, what do you think of this kid? Gong Yangning was stunned for a moment, then smiled and looked at Sun Tiantu beside him. Sun Tiantu replied, Quite interesting, let's continue watching. On the battle stage, the expressions of the higher-ups of the universities were all different. The higher-ups of Long River looked happy, while the higher-ups of the other 3 universities looked sad. If Lin Feng had joined their universities, wouldn't that have been great? Humph! Only the vice dean Bai Changfeng's face was very ugly. Because he was from the Bai house, he naturally hoped for Bai Long to defeat Lin Feng. After Lin Feng forced Bai Long to retreat, he didn't stop. He quickly moved towards Bai Long. He was getting closer and closer. Currently, Lin Feng's strength had reached 1,280,000 jin. When he used his earth-level skill, Exploding Fist, he could completely surpass the level of his opponent. Being able to suppress Bai Long was not a difficult matter. Lin Feng once again sent out a punch. In a hurry, Bai Long countered with a palm strike and collided with Lin Feng for the second time. This time, Bai Long was even worse off than the first time. He was directly sent flying a dozen meters away by Lin Feng's punch and fell to the ground with a thud, his hair disheveled. Ah, this can't be real, how can I lose to you? Bai Yilong couldn't accept all of this. Just a moment ago he said he could deal with Lin Feng with one hand, but now he was being suppressed by Lin Feng to the point where he couldn't even fight back. This was simply a slap in the face. Bai Yilong had already become hysterical. Quickly climbing up from the ground, he summoned a flying sword and rushed towards Lin Feng. Not good, another flying sword. This Bai Yilong has 2 flying swords. Gong Sunjong lost to Bai Yilong just like that. I'm afraid Lin Feng won't be able to withstand the attack of 2 flying swords. Many people cried out in alarm. Bai Yilong could control 2 flying swords at the same time, but the lethality was extremely terrifying. Everyone had already seen it before. The 2 flying swords slashed towards Lin Feng, one in front and one behind. At that moment, Lin Feng didn't retreat. Instead, he moved forward and punched the flying sword. Many people shouted in astonishment. Does Lin Feng want to die? He's using his flesh and blood to block 2 flying swords. Does he think his flesh and blood can withstand the power of the flying swords? In the eyes of the crowd, Lin Feng's actions were equivalent to suicide. At that moment, Bai Yilong's 2 flying swords slashed towards Lin Feng. Dracophant strength! Lin Feng shouted in a low voice and circulated the ancient Dracophant strength. The ancient Dracophant strength instantly erupted. Lin Feng punched Bai Yilong's flying sword. Clang! Bai Yilong's flying sword and Lin Feng collided fiercely. The ancient Dracophant strength instantly poured into Bai Yilong's flying sword. Crack! Bai Yilong's flying sword was actually broken by Lin Feng's punch. Immediately after, Lin Feng raised his fist and punched the second sword. Crack! The second flying sword was also broken by Lin Feng's punch. What? This can't be real! Many people shouted in astonishment. Everyone looked as if they had seen a ghost. 2 punches. Lin Feng actually broke Bai Yilong's 2 flying swords. This was too inconceivable. Of course, these people didn't know that Lin Feng's ancient Dracophant formula had condensed the strength of the ancient Dracophant formula. It had a monstrous destructive power. Ordinary flying swords were nothing to worry about. Even legendary treasures could be destroyed. Swoosh! Before Bai Yilong could recover from his shock, Lin Feng had already arrived in front of Bai Yilong and punched Bai Yilong. With a loud bang, Bai Yilong was sent flying by Lin Feng. Pooh! In midair, Bai Yilong spat out a mouthful of blood. He was sent flying out of the stage by Lin Feng and fell to the ground, unconscious. Bai Yilong was instantly killed by Lin Feng. Chapter 70. The entire plaza was deathly silent. Nobody had thought that Bai Yilong, who was controlling 2 flying swords, would lose so miserably. Breaking a flying sword with a fist, that little guy is incredible, said Gong Yangming with a smile. Haha, it seems like our Changhe branch has a monstrous genius, said Sun Tiantu with a smile. While the crowd was still recovering from the shock of seeing Lin Feng defeat Xian Yuanzhan, a silhouette jumped onto the battle stage. Xian Yuanzhan! Xiao Yifei and the others were astonished when they saw the silhouette on the battle stage. Xian Yuanzhan was the second strongest disciple of the inner courtyard. It was said that he had broken through to the 5th celestial layer of the martial master layer. His punch could reach 10 million jin. When he saw Xian Yuanzhan, Lin Feng frowned and said, Brother Xian Yuan, do you want to challenge me as well? Said Xian Yuanzhan. You humiliated my little brother, is that true? It's Xian Yuan Yu, right? He brought this upon himself. Lin Feng raised his eyebrows and said indifferently, If you apologize to me, I'll forget about this matter and forgive you, said Xian Yuanzhan indifferently. Many people were astonished. So Lin Feng and the Xian Yuan family had a conflict, which had led to Xian Yuanzhan attacking. Everyone was looking forward to seeing what Lin Feng would do. Apologize? Or fight? If he apologized, he would lose face. If he fought, even though Lin Feng was very strong, nobody believed that Lin Feng could defeat Xian Yuanzhan. How laughable! Xian Yuan, you wanted to buy my blood pill for a mere 1 million taels, and now it's my fault. Besides, if you want to defeat me, it won't be that easy. I've heard that you've been using the Vigor Demon God to train your cultivation for a long time. Since you want to fight, let's fight. Let me see how strong you are," said Lin Feng coldly. When Lin Feng finished talking, a monstrous battle energy emerged from his body. Humph! Qianyuan Zhan coldly snorted. He leaped out like a ferocious tiger and punched towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng naturally had no fear on his face. He also brandished his fist and charged towards Qianyuan Zhan. Bang! Lin Feng and Qianyuan Zhan fiercely collided. In a flash, Lin Feng sensed a strength which could topple mountains and overturn seas penetrate into his body. That terrifying power was about to instantly destroy all life in his body. Lin Feng's body flew back more than 10 meters. Qianyuan Zhan is too strong. He completely crushed Lin Feng. There was no suspense in this battle. No one in Jialan Academy is a match for Qianyuan Zhan except for that freak who is ranked number 1. Some of the students were discussing among themselves, but when they mentioned the freak who was ranked first, their voices became much softer. Clearly, he was extremely fearful of that existence. I only used 30% of my strength, and you already can't take it. You're too weak. That attack contained an incomparably ferocious sound. That powerful strength made Lin Feng's expression slightly change. Lin Feng didn't directly resist Qianyuan Zhan's attack. He could feel that if he was hit, even if he didn't die, he would be seriously injured. Go! After Lin Feng dodged Qianyuan Zhan's attack, he flicked his wrist and the sword in his hand flew towards Qianyuan Zhan like a flying sword. It was extremely fast, and Qianyuan Zhan quickly dodged. However, a wound appeared on his right hand, and the halberd in his hand flew out. This made Qianyuan Zhan incomparably furious. This was the second time he was injured by Lin Feng. Before this, Qianyuan Zhan had never been defeated. But now, he was injured twice in a battle with Lin Feng. For the proud and arrogant Qianyuan Zhan, this was naturally unacceptable. Many of the spectators were also abnormally shocked. Originally, everyone thought that Qianyuan Zhan would completely crush Lin Feng in this battle. But now, Qianyuan Zhan was actually the one injured. It was simply inconceivable. Whoosh! The instant the sword injured Qianyuan Zhan, Lin Feng instantly moved and quickly arrived beside Qianyuan Zhan. Then, he waved his right fist and used the earth rank martial art, collapsing fist, to attack Qianyuan Zhan. Lin Feng wanted to use this extremely rare opportunity to defeat Qianyuan Zhan in one strike. Chapter 71. Lin Feng's punch was filled with a powerful force. Bang! That punch ruthlessly landed on Qianyuan Zhan's body. Success! Lin Feng looked delighted. He was very confident in his own strength. He had thought that his attack would definitely injure Qianyuan Zhan. But what Lin Feng hadn't thought was that when his punch landed on Qianyuan Zhan's body, Qianyuan Zhan's qi was protected by Lin Feng's qi. Qianyuan Zhan's body was protected by his qi. Lin Feng's punch was completely dispersed by Qianyuan Zhan's qi. Not good! Lin Feng's expression slightly changed. He had a bad feeling and quickly retreated. Qianyuan Zhan smiled evilly. Little brat, eat my punch! Boom! Qianyuan Zhan's fist blasted over, and a terrifying power suddenly erupted. Pun! A deafening explosion spread through the air. Lin Feng and Qianyuan Zhan had fiercely collided. That tyrannical strength spread through the air. Lin Feng, who had received Qianyuan Zhan's attack, was pushed back. Qianyuan Zhan sneered. You won't have any chance. As soon as he finished speaking, Qianyuan Zhan rushed towards Lin Feng. After being continuously injured by Lin Feng, Qianyuan Zhan was on the verge of exploding with rage. Therefore, he hadn't held back at all. He threw another punch at Lin Feng. That guy's punch had the strength of 10 million jin. It was terrifying. If it had been anyone else, even if they were at the same level as Qianyuan Zhan, they would have been crushed. At Qianyuan Zhan's level, his strength was around 8 million jin. But Xian Yuanzhan was a monstrous genius, so he was much stronger than other cultivators of the same level. But Xian Yuanzhan's opponent was Lin Feng. Facing Xian Yuanzhan's attack, Lin Feng used his 3 devouring martial spirits. His strength instantly rose to 3,840,000 jin. At the same time, Lin Feng used the ancient dragonesque elephant's skill, and the ancient dragonesque elephant's strength flowed through his body. Crushing fist! Lin Feng didn't retreat. Instead, he advanced towards Xian Yuanzhan. When the primordial dragonesque elephant's power activated the crushing fist, Lin Feng's battle prowess also rose to the peak. Is Lin Feng crazy? He actually took the initiative to attack Xian Yuanzhan. Isn't he courting death? Many people were discussing animatedly with astonished expressions on their faces. Xian Yuanzhan was an undefeatable existence in the inner court. Of course, that was apart from the guy who was ranked first. It was said that that guy was a martial general and was even more powerful than many of the academy's elders. His strength was comparable to the vice principal. The number 1 freak did not return to the academy to participate in the grand competition of the 4 academies. Even if he did return, no one would dare to challenge him. Apart from this existence, Xian Yuanzhan could definitely be called an undefeatable war god. Presently, Lin Feng had taken the initiative to charge towards Xian Yuanzhan, and as far as everyone was concerned, it was indeed no different than courting death. Bam! Lin Feng and Xian Yuanzhan collided once again. Thud, 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 both of them took 3 steps back. How is this possible? Many people cried out in disbelief. Xian Yuanzhan was someone who could punch out with a force of 10 million kilograms. Lin Feng, on the other hand, was only a 6th firmament martial artist a year ago. In just a short year, he was actually able to fight on par with someone of Xian Yuanzhan's level? Junior brother Lin is too powerful, right? Su Zimo and the others cried out in shock. Xiao Yafei, Gong Sun Chang'e, and the other inner court experts were also dumbfounded. Clearly, they did not expect Lin Feng to have the ability to fight with Xian Yuanzhan. Everybody was stupefied by Lin Feng's strength. Xian Yuanzhan's face was extremely gloomy. His eyes narrowed slightly, and a cold light flashed in them. Boom! At this moment, a terrifying aura was emitted from Xian Yuanzhan's body. His dantian was emitting a bright light. Martial Soul! Is Xian Yuanzhan going to activate his martial soul? Many people cried out in alarm. Little brat, I really underestimated you. However, once I activate my martial soul, you will definitely lose, Xian Yuanzhan said coldly. Lin Feng surprisingly forced Xian Yuanzhan to use his spirit, whispered the crowd. His speed of growth is too fast. The higher-ups of the 4 campuses were also discussing spiritedly. Xian Yuanzhan has a gigantic divine spirit. It's an extremely powerful martial soul. Lin Feng's martial soul is a black hole martial soul. It can increase one's cultivation speed. It's similar to an auxiliary martial soul. Against Xian Yuanzhan, he will be at a disadvantage. Gong Yangming frowned and said. No wonder his cultivation level was able to increase by leaps and bounds in just a year. It seems like his martial soul is extremely powerful, Sun Tiantu said. During the test, it was a 10th grade martial soul, Gong Yangzhan said. 10th grade? Sun Tiantu's face suddenly changed. He had seen many things. He had traveled outside for many years and had seen many strong cultivators, as well as countless geniuses. However, Sun Tiantu had never seen a 10th grade martial soul. Roar! At this moment, an earth-shattering roar resounded in the arena. Behind Xian Yuanzhan, a gigantic silhouette appeared. That silhouette was 100 meters tall and was wearing battle armor. It gave people an incomparably heavy and oppressive feeling. That was Xian Yuanzhan's martial soul. It was called the Gigantic Divine Spirit. The Gigantic Divine Spirit had boundless strength. According to legends, the Gigantic Divine Spirit was one of the gods in the celestial world. Xian Yuanzhan was able to suppress cultivators of the same level as him because of the Gigantic Divine Spirit. Little brat, it's time to end this. Xianyuan Zhan smiled coldly and walked towards Lin Feng. Boom! Xianyuan Zhan attacked and threw a punch at Lin Feng. The gigantic divine spirit who was standing behind him also attacked. He also threw a punch at Lin Feng. Their movements were completely synchronized. The gigantic divine spirit's punch seemed to be able to destroy a 10,000-meter tall mountain in an instant. Many students who were closer to the stage felt the chi emitted by the gigantic divine spirit. Their faces were incomparably pale and they couldn't even breathe. How terrifying was the gigantic divine spirit? Many students found it difficult to withstand the gigantic divine spirit's chi, not to mention that Lin Feng was facing the gigantic divine spirit's attack. Lin Feng is going to be defeated. Many people were shouting with pale faces. Boom! When the gigantic divine spirit's punch arrived, Lin Feng also moved. Lin Feng crazily circulated the immemorial dragonesque elephant skill. Immemorial dragonesque elephant, Holy Emperor Bao. Behind Lin Feng, a silhouette also appeared. That silhouette was standing on the ground and its head was in the sky. It was impossible to see where it ended. In front of that silhouette, the gigantic divine spirit was like an ant in front of a gigantic dragon. What's that? Many people looked at the immemorial dragonesque elephant behind Lin Feng. Heavens, what's that? The faces of the higher-ups of the college were filled with incomparable shock. They felt as if their souls were trembling in front of that terrifying silhouette. Roar! The immemorial dragonesque elephant roared. Bang! Xianyuan Zhan's gigantic divine spirit exploded. Xianyuan Zhan was also sent flying. Puff! In the air, Xianyuan Zhan spat out a mouthful of blood and flew a dozen meters before falling to the ground. Lin Feng stepped forward and coldly looked at Xianyuan Zhan. You've lost. Chapter 72. I actually lost. Xianyuan Zhan couldn't believe his eyes. He couldn't believe that this was real. The ancient dragonesque elephant had already disappeared. However, the shock that the primordial dragonesque elephant brought to everyone was difficult to dissipate. Xianyuan Zhan had actually lost. It seems like Lin Feng has some secrets, said one of the higher-ups. Xianyuan Zhan nodded. Which genius doesn't have secrets? Asked Sun Tiantu. Many of the higher-ups nodded. If one wanted to stand out in front of countless cultivators, they had to be extremely talented. Most of them had come across miraculous things. Amazing! Junior Brother Lin is amazing! Even Xianyuan Zhan wasn't a match for Junior Brother Lin! Senior Brother Lin is amazing! The students of Long River Institution cheered. Xianyuan Zhan had been defeated by Lin Feng. For Long River Institution, it was an honor. Xianyuan Zhan crawled up from the ground and said in a resounding voice, Lin Feng, I'll fight you again! After saying that, Xianyuan Zhan jumped off the battle stage and walked out of the college. Lin Feng narrowed his eyes and looked at Xianyuan Zhan's back. Xianyuan Zhan was pretty straightforward. Lin Feng also jumped off the battle stage. Naturally, many people came to congratulate Lin Feng. Lin Feng replied modestly. After Lin Feng and Xianyuan Zhan's battle ended, another 10 students challenged the top 100 students of the inner courtyard. However, only one of them succeeded. It was obvious that it wasn't easy to defeat one of the top 100 students and enter the top 100. 10 days later, the great competition of the 4 universities came to an end. Lin Feng had defeated Bai Yilong and Xianyuan Zhan during the great competition of the 4 universities. The only pity was that Gong Sunjianga had been defeated by Bai Yilong. Bai Yilong's victory was disgraceful, but the result couldn't be changed. According to the rules of the academy, defeated students couldn't challenge other top 100 students again. Because of this rule, Gong Sunjianga could only wait until the next 4 academies tournament to challenge other students again. In truth, Gong Sunjianga didn't care much about this honor. He was planning to leave Jialan Academy next year. He had already been cultivating there for 10 years. During Lin Feng's conversation with Gong Sunjianga revealed that he would be going out with an elder of his family to gain experience. That elder was a deacon of an ancient sect. Gongsun Zhang's family hoped that he could use this opportunity to enter that ancient sect to further his studies. Therefore, Gongsun Zhang didn't need to be obsessed with the ranking in Changhe branch. This is the reward for 1,000 great strength hidden dragon pills. The vice dean personally gave the reward to Lin Feng. Lin Feng was very excited. 1,000 great strength hidden dragon pills would definitely help him break through again. Apart from the pills, Lin Feng's benefits in the inner courtyard had also greatly increased. Every month, he could receive 50 great strength hidden dragon pills as cultivation resources. The 4 academies tournament had ended, but there was still a lot of discussion in the academy. Whether it was the inner courtyard or the outer courtyard, everyone was talking about Lin Feng's extraordinary performance, and how he had defeated Bai Yilong and Xianyuan Zhan. However, Lin Feng's life hadn't changed much because of the 4 academies tournament. He still worked hard every day. Just as Elder Tian Xian had taught him, cultivation was like sailing against the current. If he didn't advance, he would fall behind. He could not relax his expectations of himself. Otherwise, he might be stuck at a standstill. "Little Lin Feng, are you there?" A pleasant voice came from outside. "Who is it? Why are you being so rude? How dare you talk to Brother Lin like that?" Zhang Qi ran out and said angrily. But soon, he came back with a drooping face. Behind him was a cute, and mischievous girl. "What brings you here, Sister Xiao Xian?" asked Lin Feng with a smile. It was Gong Yang Xiao Xian, the vice dean's granddaughter. He, you still remember me? I thought you had forgotten about me," said Gong Yang Xiao Xian with a smile. "Sister Xiao Xian, you're such a beautiful woman. I'll never forget you for the rest of my life. You've been imprinted in my soul for a long time," said Lin Feng. "You're such a sweet talker." Gong Yang Xiao Xian was in a good mood. Everyone liked to hear compliments, and Gong Yang Xiao Xian was no exception. "I left the college for more than half a year, and when I came back, I heard that you defeated Xianyuan Zhan during the great competition of the 4 academies. You've made our Long River branch proud," said Gong Yang Xiao Xian. Obviously, she didn't believe that Lin Feng was strong enough to defeat Xianyuan Zhan. Even Xiao Yufei might not be a match for Xianyuan Zhan, but Lin Feng had really defeated Xianyuan Zhan. When Gong Yang Xiao Xian heard about it for the first time after returning to the college, she thought that it was a joke. Later, she found out that it was true. "I was just lucky," said Lin Feng modestly. You're so modest. "I've decided to accept you as my follower," said Gong Yang Xiao Xian with a smile. Said Lin Feng, rolling his eyes. He glanced at Gong Yang Xiao Xian's body and said, "If there's a reward, maybe I'll agree." "What reward do you want?" asked Gong Yang Xiao Xian. "For example, a chance to get intimate with a woman," said Lin Feng straightforwardly. Lin Feng was getting bolder and bolder. "Humph, I didn't know that you were such a pervert." Gong Yang Xiao Xian groaned and blushed, but she didn't look angry. She just looked a little shy. If it were someone else, Gong Yang Xiao Xian would have already punched them. However, in front of Lin Feng, Gong Yang Xiao Xian felt shy. That feeling made Gong Yang Xiao Xian's heart flutter. "A fair and graceful girl is a gentleman's wife," said Lin Feng with a smile. "Humph!" Gong Yang Xiao Xian groaned and said, "Actually, I have something to tell you. The old man asked me to call you over. The vice principal is looking for me?" "All right, I'll go and see what it is." Lin Feng nodded. Lin Feng went to the main palace of the Long River branch. Not only was the vice principal Gong Yangming there, but also the scripture pavilion's elder Tian Xian and the principal, Sun Tiantu. "Disciple Lin Feng greets the elders." Lin Feng bowed to the 3 of them. "Haha, we're all family, don't be so polite," said Gong Yangming with a smile. Elder Tian Xian also smiled and said, "Lin Feng, old man's son wants to test your soul strength." "Test my soul strength?" Lin Feng was confused. Elder Tian Xian said, "Test your soul strength to see if you have the talent to learn spirit arrays." Hearing Elder Tian Xian's words, Lin Feng immediately became excited. Spirit Array Masters were extremely rare. As for Spirit Array Masters, they possessed many unimaginable abilities. A Spirit Array Master was an honored guest in any faction. It wasn't easy to become a Spirit Array Master. Lin Feng naturally wanted to become a Spirit Array Master, but without the guidance of a powerful Spirit Array Master, it was impossible to become a Spirit Array Master just by relying on his own cultivation. Sun Tiantu took out a crystal ball and said, "This is a soul-testing crystal ball. Place your hand on it and try to sense it. If the soul-testing crystal ball resonates and changes, you will have an innate gift for learning spirit arrays." "Yes." Lin Feng walked forward and took a deep breath. He placed his hand on the spirit-testing crystal ball and closed his eyes, carefully sensing the spirit-testing crystal ball. Sun Tiantu, Gong Yangming, and Elder Tian Xian also looked at the spirit-testing crystal ball nervously. Out of 1,000,000 cultivators, there might not even be one cultivator with the talent to learn spirit arrays. They naturally hoped that Lin Feng would have such talent, but they also knew that the probability wasn't very high. In fact, it was very slim. However, the three of them were soon shocked, because after 10 seconds, the crystal ball emitted a wave. "It moved!" exclaimed Elder Tian Xian. "He managed to communicate with the soul-testing crystal ball so quickly? Lin Feng definitely has the talent to become a spirit array master, but I don't know what level his talent is at," Gong Yangming said expectantly. The talent to learn spirit arrays was inextricably linked to the spirit attribute and soul power. The spirit attribute was also easy to understand. It was self-confidence, strength, or inferiority. As for soul power, it was innate and couldn't be changed. Unless one cultivated to the yin-yang realm, one's soul power could not be improved. A cultivator's soul power was divided into 10 different colors: white, silver, cyan, dark gold, yellow gold, dark purple, purple gold, and orange. The deeper the color, the stronger the innate soul power, and the greater the talent on the path of a spiritual array master. "Look, the crystal ball is starting to change," Elder Tian Xian said. Sun Tiantu, Gong Yangming, and Elder Tian Xian stared at the crystal ball without blinking. They saw that the crystal ball's color increased from white to silver white, cyan, dark cyan, and all the way to dark purple. It showed no signs of stopping. Sun Tiantu, Gong Yangming, and Elder Tian Xian sucked in a breath of cold air. The crystal ball's color continued to increase. From dark purple, it turned purple gold, and finally it turned orange. Only then did it stop. Orange, the highest level of orange in the transmission. The faces of the three of them were filled with incomparable shock. Lin Feng opened his eyes. Sun Tiantu looked at Lin Feng and said excitedly, "Genius, you're awake!" Only this kind of spiritual array can have life. It is the same for drawing spiritual runes. You need to draw with your heart to give life to the spiritual runes you draw. Close your eyes, calm yourself down, and slowly remember how I taught you how to draw spiritual runes. Lin Feng closed his eyes. His originally excited emotions gradually calmed down. Spiritual runes were alive. Only by drawing with one's heart could one give life to the spiritual runes. Lin Feng was immersed in a mysterious world. In front of his eyes there seemed to be countless densely packed small particles. These small particles were the spirit array factors that were floating in the void. If one wanted to condense spiritual runes, they needed to filter out the spiritual array elements, and then fuse them together to form various spiritual runes. When the spiritual tattoos were intertwined with each other through a special method, they would form a dense and intertwined array diagram. This was the so-called spiritual array. Of course, what Lin Feng needed to do now was to condense the spiritual runes. The drawing of spiritual runes required the use of a talisman brush, talisman paper, and talisman liquid. These things could help a spiritual array master condense the spiritual array elements. Lin Feng captured the small particles in his mind. Slowly, he seemed to feel the emotions of these small spiritual array elements. Some were excited, some were sad, and some were silent. Everything had its own emotions, and the small spiritual array elements were no exception. Lin Feng felt their emotions and used his heart to infect these small spiritual array elements. An unknown amount of time passed. Lin Feng opened his eyes. His eyes became clean and pure. Lin Feng picked up the talisman brush. With the talisman brush in his hand, he drew a distorted spiritual rune on the talisman paper. This spiritual rune was like a slithering snake. It seemed to have its own life as it swam on the talisman paper. Sun Tiantu, who was watching from the side, revealed a trace of surprise. He did not expect Lin Feng to be able to draw a spiritual rune on his first try. This was completely out of Sun Tiantu's expectations. If one wanted to draw a spiritual rune, not only did one need talent, one also needed a deep understanding and comprehension of spiritual runes. This required comprehension. Now, Lin Feng had successfully drawn a spiritual rune on his first try. In Sun Tiantu's opinion, not only did Lin Feng have talent, but he also had a deep understanding of spiritual runes. This made Sun Tiantu very happy. Some people with amazing talent could not go far on the path of spiritual array masters. Sun Tiantu had seen too many of these people. The main reason was that they lacked comprehension, so they could not continue on the path of spiritual array masters. However, Lin Feng did not belong to this kind of person. At this moment, Lin Feng still did not stop. He began to draw the second spiritual rune. Sun Tiantu was looking forward to it. He did not know how many spiritual runes Lin Feng could draw. According to Sun Tiantu's knowledge, Gu Tianhe, the #1 spiritual array master in the divine land of the East County, who had reached the legendary Earth Master level, had drawn 17 spiritual runes on his first try. Of course, in Sun Tiantu's opinion, if one could draw a spiritual rune on his first try, he would be considered a top genius. As for Lin Feng's later performance, no matter what kind of results Lin Feng could produce, he would be very satisfied. However, the ability and talent that Lin Feng had displayed had completely overturned Sun Tiantu's understanding. It also made Sun Tiantu fall into an unbelievable shock. Spiritual runes appeared on the paper one after another. Soon, there were 17 spiritual runes. This was already comparable to Gu Tianhe's achievement when he first drew a spiritual rune. The most important thing was that Lin Feng still did not stop. Lin Feng continued to draw the spiritual rune. Only when the 24th spiritual rune was successfully drawn did Lin Feng let out a long breath and put down the talisman pen in his hand. 24 spiritual runes! Even though Sun Tiantu was experienced and knowledgeable, at this moment, his right hand trembled slightly. Obviously, he was deeply shocked by Lin Feng's performance. Chapter 74. Lin Feng had been studying under Sun Tiantu for half a year. In this half a year, Lin Feng's talent in spiritual arrays had been fully revealed, and even Sun Tiantu was shocked. In just half a year, Lin Feng had grown from a noob, with no knowledge of spiritual arrays, to a beginner intermediate spiritual array master, who had mastered 12 types of spiritual arrays. In just half a year, Lin Feng had walked the path that many people would take 10 years to walk. Of course, other than Lin Feng's great talent and comprehension, Lin Feng's hard work and the guidance of a teacher had a lot to do. Spiritual array masters were divided into 4 levels: heaven, earth, profound, and yellow. Each level was further divided into beginner intermediate, advanced. There were 3 levels. In more detail, they were further divided into beginner, intermediate, and advanced. Lin Feng was currently at the first level, which was the beginner intermediate spiritual array master of the yellow rank. For a 16-year-old youth, this level was already very shocking. After teaching Lin Feng for half a year, Sun Tiantu received a letter saying that he had urgent matters to attend to and had to leave. Lin Feng, after I leave, you must remember not to slack off. You must continue to study hard. You must practice 100 times a day to be able to learn new things. Sun Tiantu warned. Teacher, this disciple understands. I will definitely not slack off, Lin Feng said respectfully. Good. Sun Tiantu had a lot of faith in Lin Feng's character. He nodded and guided Lin Feng one last time before leaving Jialan Academy. In the next 2 months, Lin Feng spent all his time studying spiritual arrays other than cultivating. Every day, he would draw 100 diagrams to hone his control over spiritual arrays. This was extremely good for mental strength. Every time he finished drawing, Lin Feng would feel deeply exhausted. However, the results of his hard work were also great. After 2 months, Lin Feng finally broke through again. He reached the beginner intermediate and advanced spiritual array master of the yellow rank. In less than a year, Lin Feng had crossed 3 levels. This was completely unimaginable. If this news were to spread, it would definitely cause a huge uproar. This was because even the Geomaster, Gu Tianhe, who was revered as a god in the divine land of the East Province, he had spent a total of 3 years to advance from yellow, beginner, and elementary spiritual array master to yellow, beginner, and advanced spiritual array master. At night, after drawing 100 diagrams, Lin Feng dragged his tired body, and lay on the bed to rest. Lin Feng, come out! At that moment, Lin Feng heard a familiar voice. It was a method to send a message into the room. It's teacher! Lin Feng's face lit up with joy. He hurriedly got up and went outside. A burly old man in white was waiting for Lin Feng under a big tree not far away. When he saw Lin Feng arrive, he quickly rushed into the distance. Lin Feng followed closely behind, and the two of them arrived at the back mountain of the academy. Teacher, you're back! After seeing Sun Tiantu, Lin Feng's face lit up with joy. Lin Feng only felt gratitude towards Sun Tiantu. It was Sun Tiantu who had brought him into the palace of spiritual array masters and taught him carefully. Now that he was able to become a spiritual array master, it was all thanks to Sun Tiantu. Lin Feng would always remember this kindness. Lin Feng also treated Sun Tiantu as his most respected teacher. Fenger, I can only stay for a short while. I will leave soon. I have returned this time because there is an important matter that I need you to do, Sun Tiantu said. This disciple will definitely go through fire and water without hesitation, Lin Feng said. It's not that serious. It's a letter. Deliver this letter to the Dragon Sun City's city lord, Long Tianyu, who is 3,000 miles away. Sun Tiantu took out a letter and handed it to Lin Feng. He solemnly said, You must deliver it within 3 days. You must leave now. Yes, this disciple will definitely do it. Lin Feng put the letter away. All right, I can't stay for long. I will leave now. Fenger, the journey is long, so you must be careful, Sun Tiantu said before leaving. Lin Feng raised his eyes and said, Thank you for your concern, teacher. This disciple will remember. Whoosh! In the next moment, Sun Tiantu shot up and turned into a ray of light, disappearing without a trace. Lin Feng returned to his residence, and told Zhang Qi that he would be away for a while. He then left for Dragon Sun City. Dragon Sun City was one of the 10 main cities of Jinwu country. The Dragon Sun City city lord, Long Tianyu, was a relative of the imperial family. It was said that he was the uncle of the current emperor. Lin Feng didn't know the contents of the letter, so he naturally wouldn't open his teacher's letter and secretly read it. Lin Feng bought a bunch of wild horses and rode them out of the city in the middle of the night to Dragon Sun City. The horse he was riding was a cross between a Fergana horse and a demonic beast. It could travel 1,500 miles in a day, and it could run for 3 days without stopping. Not only was it fast, but its endurance was also astonishing. Therefore, it wasn't difficult to deliver the letter to Dragon Sun City within 3 days. For 2 consecutive days, Lin Feng, other than eating and drinking, basically ran all the way. One afternoon, Lin Feng arrived at the marked Gaijianqiu. It was a long and narrow valley with steep terrain and incomparably dangerous terrain. There were bandits in this place all year round, but they had mostly been cleared out in recent years. Lin Feng rode the wild horse through Gaijianqiu. Suddenly, Lin Feng felt a dangerous aura. He looked up and saw a huge boulder that was hundreds of meters tall coming down at him. Lin Feng's expression changed slightly, and he quickly jumped into the distance to avoid the huge boulder. However, the wild horse he was riding wasn't so lucky. It was smashed into meat paste. "Kid, you're quite agile." Cold laughter spread in the air. A dozen cultivators jumped out of the mountain and blocked Lin Feng's path. Besides, a dozen cultivators jumped down from the top of the mountain and blocked Lin Feng's path. One in front and one behind, they blocked Lin Feng's way. Lin Feng asked, "Who are you people?" "Naturally, we're bandits from Gui Jianchou," the leader of the cultivators said coldly. "You're not." Lin Feng shook his head. "Bandits are exposed to the elements. How can they be as clean as you? I think you're more like experts raised by a large family." A cold, killing intent flashed in the leader's eyes. He sneered and said, "Kid, you have sharp eyes." Lin Feng sighed. "I should have guessed that this was a trap." He took out the letter. "You." The leader's expression changed slightly. He said in a deep voice, "How did you find out?" "I've been learning from my teacher for more than half a year. My teacher is a very strict person. He always calls me by my name and not affectionately calls me Feng. That fake teacher imitated him very well, and I almost couldn't find any flaws. However, my instincts told me that he was fake, so I beat him at his own game," Lin Feng said indifferently. The cultivator's expressions changed. No one would have thought that Lin Feng would be as intelligent as a demon. If this kid was allowed to grow, he would definitely become an extremely terrifying existence. The leader sneered and said, "How stupid! Since you suspected him, you shouldn't have come. Since you're here, only death awaits you." He waved his hand, and more than 30 cultivators surrounded Lin Feng, their eyes filled with killing intent. Chapter 75. The other party had a large number of people, and they were all very powerful. There were no less than 3 martial masters, especially the leader of the cultivators. Even Lin Feng felt a dangerous aura from him, which meant that this person's cultivation was definitely extremely shocking. Of course, Lin Feng wasn't afraid of those people. He smiled coldly. "I just came to see who you are. I want to know who you are. I want to know who you are. Now I have an answer." Lin Feng had already guessed the identity of these people. They should be experts from the Bai family, because Lin Feng and the Bai family had already reached the point where they could not tolerate each other. The Bai family naturally would not allow Lin Feng to continue growing. They wanted to get rid of him as soon as possible. "Brat, then you have to die even more," said a strong cultivator who was holding a gigantic axe. He used the Hua mountain splitting technique to attack Lin Feng. Swish! Lin Feng unsheathed his sword. Fast. His speed was simply too fast. It was like an afterimage. It flashed in front of his eyes. Puff! Following that, blood spurted out. Before the giant axe in the cultivator's hand could fall, he had already been killed by Lin Feng's sword. Lin Feng's current battle strength was no longer the same as before. With his tyrannical strength, Lin Feng was confident that he could face any danger. "Surround and kill this brat!" the leader of the cultivators shouted in a deep voice. The rest of the people spread out and surrounded Lin Feng. Then, they launched a crazy attack on Lin Feng. From all directions, there were people attacking Lin Feng, wanting to make Lin Feng pay attention to one thing and lose sight of the other. However, Lin Feng's speed was too fast. As soon as he used the scorching sun sword technique, the sun rose into the sky. Following that, rays of sword chi shot out. Now that Lin Feng had cultivated to the martial master realm, he could already fuse sword chi and true chi together, making it even more powerful. Streaks of sword chi shot out. Clang, clang, clang. These cultivators were all in a sorry state as they blocked Lin Feng's sword chi. Lin Feng's wrist shook again. Swish, swish, swish. Another ray of sword chi shot out. Puff. Next, the sound of tearing could be heard one after another. The cultivators' necks were directly cut by Lin Feng's sword chi. One by one, the cultivators fell to the ground and breathed their last. These ordinary cultivators couldn't even last 3 rounds against Lin Feng. "The Bai clan is underestimating me," Did they send a bunch of trash to kill me? Lin Feng said coldly. Aside from the 3 martial masters, the rest of the 30-plus people were all killed. Brat, how arrogant! Let's see how you'll die in our hands today! The leading cultivator shouted coldly. He drew the 2 swords on his back. This person's weapon was a broadsword. This type of broadsword was longer and wider than ordinary swords, and its thickness was twice that of an ordinary longsword. This kind of broadsword was suitable for extremely powerful cultivators. Normally, cultivators would only use 1 broadsword. However, this person was using 2 broadswords. Clearly, this person had extraordinary combat strength. The 2nd martial master used a long spear. The 3rd martial master's weapon was a giant bow. The giant bow was used together with arrows to attack from a distance. Among the 3 martial masters, one was responsible for close-range attacks, while the other was responsible for long-range attacks. It could be said that this was the most perfect combination. Attack! The leading cultivator shouted coldly. He and the 2nd martial master quickly rushed towards Lin Feng. The 2 swords in their hands were directly aimed at Lin Feng. The 2nd martial master's long spear was aimed at Lin Feng's chest. The 2 of them cooperated very well. Moreover, they attacked from the left and right. An ordinary person would have a hard time dealing with their attacks. The slightest carelessness could lead to death. While the 2 of them were attacking Lin Feng, the 3rd martial master also drew his giant bow. Whoosh! A magic arrow shot towards Lin Feng at lightning speed. This magic arrow had a speed spirit rune drawn on it, which could increase its flying speed. Moreover, this magic arrow also had an explosion spirit rune drawn on it. This kind of explosion spirit rune was even more terrifying. Once it pierced through Lin Feng's body, the explosion spirit rune would be stained with blood and directly explode. With just 1 arrow, Lin Feng would be blown to smithereens. The 3 of them cooperated seamlessly. 2 of them were responsible for restraining Lin Feng's movements, while the other was responsible for launching a sure-kill attack on Lin Feng. Of course, even though the 1st and 2nd martial masters were responsible for restraining Lin Feng, as long as Lin Feng revealed even the slightest flaw, they would definitely unleash a torrential barrage of attacks, aiming to kill Lin Feng in a single strike. The 3 martial masters had cold and cruel expressions on their faces. In their eyes, Lin Feng was no different from a dead man. They did not believe that Lin Feng could deal with the 3 of them working together to kill him. In the face of such a dangerous situation, Lin Feng smiled coldly. Boom! At this critical moment, Lin Feng directly activated his devouring martial spirit. The 3 devouring martial spirits revolved. The confining magnetic field immediately enveloped an area of more than 10 meters. The 3 martial master powerhouses were all enveloped within it. Lin Feng's confining magnetic field was extremely terrifying. Once trapped, it would be difficult to move. When the magic arrow was shot, its speed became extremely slow and Lin Feng's confining magnetic field, as if it was moving in slow motion. Its power was also greatly reduced. I can't move! The martial master holding the long spear cried out in horror. The unknown was the most terrifying. Die! Said Lin Feng while smiling coldly. He took a step forwards and slashed at the spear-wielding cultivator with his sword. Puff! Lin Feng's sword cut open his neck. Blood spurted out. The martial master was killed by Lin Feng's sword. Lin Feng grabbed the long spear in his hand and threw it at the martial master holding the huge bow. The martial master's face was filled with fear. He wanted to dodge, but his body was confined by the confining magnetic field. It was difficult for him to dodge the attack. The long spear directly pierced through his chest, sending his body flying dozens of meters away. The long spear then stabbed into the rock wall. The cultivator's body hung in midair. Blood flowed down the long spear and dripped onto the rock wall. After killing 2 experts in a row, Lin Feng did not stop. He quickly swept towards the 3rd expert. The leading cultivator was obviously the most powerful of the 3 martial masters. He actually overcame Lin Feng's confining magnetic field. Holding two swords, he stabbed towards Lin Feng. Twin dragons emerging from the sea. This person's swordsmanship was extremely domineering. The two swords were like two ferocious dragons, baring their fangs and brandishing their claws. Scorching sun swordsmanship. Lin Feng roared and slashed out with his strongest sword. The power of an earth-rank swordsmanship was completely displayed at this moment. Lin Feng was standing under the scorching sun. He looked like a sun god. Pooh! When the light fell, Lin Feng's sword had already pierced through the leading cultivator's neck. Lin Feng suddenly pulled out his long sword. The leading cultivator continuously retreated, using his hand to cover his neck that was spurting blood. I didn't expect you to be so strong at the age of 16. What kind of person did my Bai clan provoke? The cultivator fell to the ground. Before he died, his eyes were wide open. It was obvious that he died with grievances. Chapter 76. All right, come with me. I'll bring you to see the expert in charge of the certification. Sheng Wanfei brought Lin Feng to an empty room. In the middle of the room was a row of weapons, and besides that, there was nothing else. Clearly, this was the certification area. Lin Feng asked, Aren't you here to bring me to see the expert? Where is the expert? Sheng Wanfei strode to the center of the room. She looked at Lin Feng with a faint smile and said, That expert is me. If you can defeat me, you can pass the second-order mercenary certification. Lin Feng looked at Sheng Wanfei in surprise. No matter how he looked at her, she looked like an absolute beauty, and he could not tell that she was an expert. Are you sure? Lin Feng asked. Sheng Wanfei gave a cold humph and said, You dare to doubt this young lady? This young lady has already passed the second-order mercenary certification test a year ago. In that case, I'll offend you then. Lin Feng nodded and leaped forward, arriving in front of Sheng Wanfei and punching out towards her. Sheng Wanfei also attacked. Her palm was moving towards Lin Feng. Her palm technique was extremely mysterious. It contained an extremely soft and keen strength. In a flash, it neutralized Lin Feng's attack, and then suddenly it moved towards Lin Feng's chest at full speed. Lin Feng quickly retreated, dodging Sheng Wanfei's blow. That should be some kind of soft technique, right? This young lady is trained in the 1,000 soft palms. Sheng Wanfei gave a cold humph and leaped forward, charging towards Lin Feng once more. She was extremely confident in her 1,000 soft palms. As for Lin Feng, Sheng Wanfei did not place Lin Feng in her eyes at all. A mere 15 or 16-year-old youth, could it be that he wanted to defeat her? That was just a fool's dream. Sheng Wanfei's second palm struck out towards Lin Feng, a smug look on her beautiful face, as if she was extremely satisfied with her own palm strike. Collapsing fist! Lin Feng didn't dodge, nor did he retreat. Instead, he activated the Archean dragonesque elephant art. Then, Lin Feng activated his collapsing fist and punched out. Presently, this earth-rank martial technique had long been cultivated by Lin Feng to the extent of being as pure as fire. When the collapsing fist was executed, there were even bursts of sounds of rushing thunder in the air. Bang! Lin Feng and Sheng Wanfei clashed together. Lin Feng remained unmoved. As for Sheng Wanfei, she was knocked back by Lin Feng's punch. How is this possible? Sheng Wanfei bit her lip, looking at Lin Feng in disbelief. She had always prided herself as a genius, and now she had actually been forced back by a youth who was several years younger than her. How could the proud and arrogant Sheng Wanfei accept that? That caused Sheng Wanfei to fly into a rage. Fairy-picking flowers! Sheng Wanfei struck out once more, a finger pointing towards Lin Feng. This fairy-picking flowers finger had a strong penetrating power, and its power was astonishing. Within the borders of the Jinwu country, it was one of the 72 absolute arts. Of course, Lin Feng didn't know about this. However, when Sheng Wanfei used this fairy-picking flowers finger, Lin Feng did feel a trace of danger. What a powerful finger technique! Lin Feng was slightly shocked, but his movements didn't have the slightest hesitation, and there was no fear in his heart. This was because Lin Feng had absolute confidence in his own strength. Facing Shang Guanfei's attack, he also struck out with his collapsing fist. His fist flew towards Shang Guanfei. Lin Feng had already mastered the 9 forms of the collapsing fist. Against a martial master, the collapsing fist was more than enough. Bang! Both sides collided once more, and just like the first time, Shang Guanfei was once again knocked back by Lin Feng. How can your strength be so strong? Shang Guanfei looked coldly at Lin Feng. Lin Feng smiled and said, Naturally, it's because this young master's cultivation is heaven-defying and profound. Humph, you actually dare to show off your strength in front of this young lady. Today, this young lady will let you know how powerful I am. Shang Guanfei snorted. In the next moment, a light flashed, and a flaming whip appeared in her hand. This flaming whip was obviously a powerful treasure. Pa pa pa! Shang Guanfei made her move. She directly used the whip in her hand and lashed it towards Lin Feng. The whip was like a snake as it lashed towards Lin Feng, aiming straight for Lin Feng's face. Shang Guanfei's whip was called the Fire Snake Whip. It was said that it was fused with the soul essence of a 1,000-year mysterious snake, and was made with the tendons of a flood dragon. A powerful spiritual array master had drawn a spiritual array on it, and it was an extremely terrifying weapon. As the whip lashed out, Lin Feng immediately felt as if he was facing a ferocious beast. Screech! An incomparably huge python phantom appeared, opening its bloody maw as it tried to swallow Lin Feng. Shang Guanfei cried out proudly, Little brat, let's see how you block the power of my fire snake whip! Swish! Lin Feng gripped the sword on his back and drew it, slashing out. Clang! Shang Guanfei's fire snake whip clashed with Lin Feng's sword, and a powerful sound of impact rang out. A terrifying scene appeared as a dense mass of flames instantly enveloped Lin Feng's sword, spreading towards Lin Feng's body. Shang Guanfei's fire snake whip was extremely strange. Not only was it powerful, but the flames it released were also able to harm the opponent. At this moment, Lin Feng was being threatened. Slap! 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 Shang Guanfei's face was filled with pride. She had never lost when using the fire snake whip because it was a powerful treasure that could suppress the opponent. After Shang Guanfei's attack, she did not stop, continuing to attack Lin Feng with the fire snake whip. Just a mere flame, suppress it for me. Lin Feng sneered as he activated the archaic dragonesque elephant skill. The archaic dragonesque elephant's power surged out and was poured into Lin Feng's sword. With a sudden shake, the raging flames were instantly extinguished. Archaic dragonesque elephant skill. Even gods and demons could be suppressed, let alone mere flames. After suppressing the flames, Lin Feng quickly dashed forward, dodging Shang Guanfei's whip. Shang Guanfei's expression changed slightly. She had not expected that Lin Feng would actually be able to neutralize her fire snake whip's flame attack. Seeing Lin Feng dashing over, she quickly retreated. Shang Guanfei, who was using the fire snake whip, needed to put some distance between her and Lin Feng to be able to unleash the full power of the fire snake whip. However, even though Shang Guanfei wanted to retreat, it was already too late. Lin Feng quickly arrived in front of Shang Guanfei, his sword pointed at her slender, snow-white neck. Beauty, don't move. My sword has no eyes, and it can easily hurt you. Lin Feng smiled as he looked at Shang Guanfei. Shang Guanfei's expression was uncertain. Even now, she had not regained her senses. She had never imagined that she would actually lose to a 15 or 16-year-old youth. She was at the 4th heavenly stage of the martial master stage, and even had the flame snake whip in her hands. Yet she had still lost. Chapter 77. All right, come with me. I'll bring you to see the expert in charge of the certification. Shang Guanfei brought Lin Feng to an empty room. In the middle of the room was a row of weapons, and besides that, there was nothing else. Clearly, this was the certification area. Lin Feng asked. Aren't you here to bring me to see the expert? Where is he? Shangguan Feier strode to the center of the room. She looked at Lin Feng with a faint smile and said, That expert is me. If you can defeat me, you can pass the second-order mercenary certification. Lin Feng looked at Shangguan Feier in surprise. No matter how he looked at her, she looked like an absolute beauty, and he could not tell that she was an expert. Are you sure? Lin Feng asked. Shangguan Feier gave a cold humph and said, You dare to doubt this young lady? This young lady has already passed the second-order mercenary certification test a year ago. In that case, I'll offend you then. Lin Feng nodded and leapt forward, arriving in front of Shangguan Feier and punching out towards her. Shangguan Feier also made her move, a palm striking out. Her palm technique was extremely mysterious, bringing with it an extremely soft and yin energy, instantly dissolving Lin Feng's blow. After that, she abruptly gathered her strength and struck out towards Lin Feng's chest. Lin Feng quickly retreated, dodging the blow. That should be some kind of soft technique, right? This young lady is trained in the 1,000 soft palms. Shangguan Feier gave a cold humph and leapt forward, once again charging towards Lin Feng. She was extremely confident in her 1,000 soft palms. As for Lin Feng, Shangguan Feier did not place Lin Feng in her eyes at all. A mere 15 or 16-year-old youth, could it be that he wanted to defeat her? That was just a fool's dream. Shangguan Feier struck out a second palm strike towards Lin Feng, a smug look on her beautiful face, as if she was extremely satisfied with her own palm strike. Collapsing fist! Lin Feng didn't dodge, nor did he retreat. Instead, he activated the Archean Dragonesque Elephant art. Then, Lin Feng activated his collapsing fist and punched out. Presently, this earth-rank martial technique had long been cultivated by Lin Feng to the extent of being as pure as fire. When the collapsing fist was executed, there were even bursts of sounds of rushing thunder in the air. Bang! Lin Feng and Shangguan Feier clashed together. Lin Feng remained unmoved. As for Shangguan Feier, she was knocked back by Lin Feng's punch. How is this possible? Shangguan Feier bit her lip, looking at Lin Feng in disbelief. She had always prided herself as a genius, and now she had actually been forced back by a youth who was several years younger than her. How could the proud and arrogant Shangguan Feier accept that? That caused Shangguan Feier to fly into a rage. Fairy-picking flowers! Shangguan Feier struck out once more, a finger pointing towards Lin Feng. This fairy-picking flowers finger had a strong penetrating power, and its power was astonishing. Within the borders of the Jinwu country, it was one of the 72 absolute arts. Of course, Lin Feng didn't know about this. However, when Shangguan Feier used this fairy-picking flowers finger, Lin Feng did feel a trace of danger. What a powerful finger technique! Lin Feng was slightly shocked, but his movements didn't have the slightest hesitation, and there was no fear in his heart. This was because Lin Feng had absolute confidence in his own strength. Facing Shangguan Feier's attack, he also struck out with his collapsing fist. His fist flew towards Shangguan Feier. Lin Feng had already mastered the 9 forms of the collapsing fist. Against a martial master, the collapsing fist was more than enough. Bang! Both sides collided once more, and just like the first time, Shangguan Feier was once again knocked back by Lin Feng. How can your strength be so strong? Shangguan Feier looked coldly at Lin Feng. Lin Feng smiled and said, Naturally, it's because this young master's cultivation is heaven-defying and profound. Humph, you actually dare to show off your strength in front of this young lady. Today, this young lady will let you know how powerful I am. Shangguan Feier snorted. In the next moment, a light flashed, and a flaming whip appeared in her hand. This flaming whip was obviously a powerful treasure. Pa pa pa! Shangguan Feier made her move. She directly used the whip in her hand and lashed it towards Lin Feng. The whip was like a snake as it lashed towards Lin Feng, aiming straight for Lin Feng's face. Shangguan Feier's whip was called the Fire Snake Whip. It was said that it was fused with the soul essence of a 1,000-year mysterious snake, and was made with the tendons of a flood dragon. A powerful spiritual array master had drawn a spiritual array on it, and it was an extremely terrifying weapon. When the whip lashed out, Lin Feng immediately felt as if he was facing a wild beast. Screech! An incomparably huge python phantom appeared, opening its bloody maw as it tried to swallow Lin Feng. Shanghuan Fei cried out proudly, "Little brat, let's see how you block the power of my fire snake whip!" Swish! Lin Feng gripped the sword on his back and drew it, slashing out. Clang! Shanghuan Fei's fire snake whip clashed with Lin Feng's sword, and a powerful clang rang out. A terrifying scene appeared as a dense mass of flames enveloped Lin Feng's sword, spreading towards Lin Feng's body. Shanghuan Fei's fire snake whip was extremely strange. Not only was it powerful, but the flames it released were also able to harm the opponent. At this moment, Lin Feng felt threatened. Pa pa pa! Shanghuan Fei's face was filled with pride. She had never lost when using the fire snake whip. That was because the fire snake whip was such a powerful treasure that it could suppress any opponent. After that attack, Shanghuan Fei didn't stop, continuing to attack Lin Feng with the fire snake whip. Just a mere flame, suppress it! Lin Feng sneered and activated the archaic dragonesque elephant skill. The power of the archaic dragonesque elephant surged out and was poured into Lin Feng's sword. With a sudden shake, the raging flames were instantly extinguished. Archaic dragonesque elephant skill. Even gods and demons could be suppressed, not to mention mere flames. After suppressing the flames, Lin Feng quickly dashed forward, dodging Shanghuan Fei's whip. Shanghuan Fei's expression changed slightly. She had not expected that Lin Feng would be able to neutralize her fire snake whip's flame attack. Seeing Lin Feng dashing over, she quickly retreated. She had to put some distance between her and Lin Feng to be able to unleash the full power of the fire snake whip. However, even though Shanghuan Fei wanted to retreat, it was already too late. Lin Feng quickly arrived in front of Shanghuan Fei and pointed his sword at her slender, snow-white neck. "Beauty, don't move! My sword has no eyes, and it can easily hurt you." Lin Feng smiled as he looked at Shanghuan Fei. Shanghuan Fei's expression was uncertain. Even now, she had not regained her senses. She had never imagined that she would actually lose to a 15 or 16-year-old youth. She was at the 4th heavenly stage of the martial master stage, and even had the flame snake whip in her hands. Yet she had still lost. Who was this youth in front of her? How could he be so powerful? Chapter 78. What's your name? Shanghuan Fei looked at Lin Feng and asked. Lin Feng! Shanghuan Fei tried to recall if there was a Lin family in the Jinwu country. The Mercenary Association had a lot of information, and she knew about all the large families and powers in the Jinwu country. However, she could not find any information about the Lin family. This made Shanghuan Fei curious. If he wasn't from a large family, could he be from one of the 9 great academies? It had to be said that Shanghuan Fei was a beautiful and intelligent woman. Otherwise, she would not have been able to become the branch president of the Mercenary Association at such a young age. Lin Feng smiled at Shanghuan Fei and asked, "Beautiful lady, may I know your name?" Shanghuan Fei, Lin Feng said. "A beautiful name, and a beautiful person." Shanghuan Fei was rather pleased with Lin Feng's praise, but she did not seem to be sincere. She snorted and said, "You dare to tease me, are you seeking death? Dying under a peony flower is still a good thing, much less dying at the hands of a peerless beauty like Fei," Lin Feng said. "Who allowed you to call me Fei?" Shanghuan Fei said unhappily. "I'm a few years older than you should call me Big Sis Fei. Age is often not a barrier between men and women." Lin Feng looked at Shanghuan Fei with his black eyes. Looking at Lin Feng's bright eyes, Shanghuan Fei suddenly felt her heartbeat quicken. She forced herself to remain calm and said, "Since you have already passed the 2nd rank mercenary exam, you can now come with me to apply for the badge." Thank you, Fei. Lin Feng said with a smile. Humph. Cheng Wan-fei was still unhappy with the way Lin Feng addressed her, and she snorted, but this time she did not refute Lin Feng. Cheng Wan-fei brought Lin Feng to another room, and after registering some necessary information, an old man helped Lin Feng apply for the second-order mercenary badge, and Lin Feng left. Miss, who is this person? At the age of 16, he has already broken through to the martial master realm, and even defeated you, the old man said in shock. Cheng Wan-fei narrowed her eyes and said, What an interesting fellow. Uncle Qing Yuan, please send someone to follow him and keep an eye on his every move and report back to me. At the same time, find out where he lives. Yes, Mississippi. I'll do it now, the old man replied and then walked out. After leaving the auction house, Lin Feng headed to his residence. Now that he had become a second-rank mercenary, Lin Feng planned to go and find out more about the fire unicorn. Hunting and killing the fire unicorn was an important matter. Lin Feng was very interested. The fire unicorn's entire body was a precious treasure, especially its blood. If he could obtain a drop, his cultivation would advance by leaps and bounds. Lin Feng was looking forward to it. If he could obtain a drop of the fire unicorn's blood, it would definitely be worth it. Just then, a group of people rushed over from afar. The cultivator in the lead shouted coldly, Look, it's Duge Guangdao. Who's that kid? Duge Guangdao and his group don't have good intentions. Did he offend Duge Guangdao and his group? If he offends Duge Guangdao, he won't have a good ending. Many mercenaries looked over, pointing and discussing. It was obvious that this Duge Guangdao had an extraordinary reputation in Mercenary Town. Lin Feng looked at that group of people. The leader of the group was holding a blood-red blade. That person was probably Duge Guangdao. Lin Feng also saw Zhou Hu in that group of people. Zhou Hu had tried to rob Lin Feng, but he had been taught a lesson by Lin Feng. Lin Feng didn't expect him to not only be unrepentant, but also find helpers. Lin Feng looked at Duge Guangdao indifferently and said, What? Are all of you here to seek revenge? I heard that mercenaries are a group of men with backbone. Your brother can't do it. After I taught him a lesson, he called people to seek revenge. What a coward, haha. Many people's mouths twitched when they saw Lin Feng laughing and mocking Zhou Hu. This kid actually didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth? Maybe he didn't know how powerful the person in front of him was? Now they were laughing. They would probably cry later. Kid, you've got guts. You hit my brother and still dare to mock us. Duge Guangdao's eyes flashed coldly. Lin Feng smiled. Your brother wanted to rob me, but he wasn't as strong as me. I didn't kill him, but that's already the best I could do. Kid, you're too arrogant. I want to see what makes you so arrogant. Duge Guangdao's face was gloomy as he drew his blood-red blade. There's no need for Big Brother to do it. Just leave this kid to us. A few mercenaries said. Duge Guangdao said, All of you step back. I haven't exercised my muscles for a long time. Do you still want to fight with me? How would we dare? Big Brother, take it easy. Don't cut this kid in half. A mercenary said with a smile. Obviously, they didn't put Lin Feng in their eyes. Don't worry, such a brat isn't worthy of dying in my hands. As soon as he finished speaking, Duge Guangdao roared and rushed towards Lin Feng with his blood-red blade. Duge Guangdao is making his move. I wonder how many moves that kid can take? How many moves? Aren't you overestimating that kid? He looks like he's only 15 or 16 years old. How powerful can he be? I think he only needs one move and Duge Guangdao will be able to cut this kid in half. In the surroundings, the sound of discussion resounded. More than a dozen mercenaries who followed Duge Guangdao were cheering. 13 slashes of the berserk blade. Duge Guangdao let out a long howl and slashed out with his saber. Rays of resplendent blade light shot out. Blade she shook the void. The terrifying aura emitted from Duge Guangdao's body made many people feel suffocated. It was difficult for them to get close and they were all forced to retreat. Boom! Dugu Kwangdao's blade that could split Mount Hua instantly slashed down. Swish! At this moment, Lin Feng made his move. He grabbed the hilt of the sword on his back and suddenly pulled it out. Everyone felt a flash of cold light. Then, the clanging sound of swords clashing could be heard. Lin Feng's move was too fast. He pulled out his sword and unsheathed his sword. The sword was sheathed again. It was done almost overnight. What happened? Many people still looked at Lin Feng and Dugu Kwangdao in confusion. Because Lin Feng's sword was already sheathed. As for Dugu Kwangdao, he had a dull expression on his face, as if he couldn't believe it. Look! Someone cried out in alarm. Dugu Kwangdao's hair was cut off and slowly fell to the ground. Seeing this scene, everyone was overwhelmed with shock. One sword strike. Dugu Kwangdao, who was a martial master, was defeated. Because everyone knew that the youth could have cut off Dugu Kwangdao's head with that sword strike, but he only chose to cut off a handful of Dugu Kwangdao's hair. Who was strong and who was weak? It was clear at a glance. Chapter 79. I admit defeat. You can do whatever you want with me today. Dugu Kwangdao threw his blood-red blade to the ground. This man could be considered a straightforward and upright man. Heavens, isn't that young man too strong? Even someone as strong as Dugu Kwangdao was defeated in one move. Since ancient times, heroes have always come from the young. I wonder who that young man is? Could he be a disciple from some top-tier family? Many people in the surroundings were discussing spiritedly. They all looked at Lin Feng with reverence. Lin Feng picked up the blood-red blade and handed it to Dugu Kwangdao. As the saying goes, no discord, no concord. I also made a mistake in the past. I hope Brother Dugu can forgive me. Lin Feng was supposed to be the victor, but now he chose to keep the peace. Moreover, he was very humble. At that moment, everybody's impression of Lin Feng was much better than before. All right. If you don't mind, are you willing to be friends with me? Asked Dugu Kwangdao. Said Lin Feng, smiling. It's an honor to be able to meet a hero like you, Brother Dugu. Today, I invite you to have a drink with me as a way of apologizing to you, said Lin Feng. Haha, Brother Lin, we're family now. There's no need to apologize. If we do apologize, then we're the ones apologizing to you. You're a great person, so please don't take it to heart. Don't take it to heart, said Dugu Kwangdao with a smile. That's right, Brother Lin. I've offended you before. Please don't take it to heart, said Zhou Hu apologetically. It's all in the past. It's normal for hot-blooded men to have conflicts. Everything will be forgotten after a glass of wine. Lin Feng smiled. Let's go to the Drunken Immortal Tavern. We won't go back until we're drunk. Dugu Kwangdao and Lin Feng put their arms around each other's shoulders, looking like they were close friends. Lin Feng's group left. Many people were dumbfounded. Who would have thought that the two sides who had just been at loggerheads would become friends in the blink of an eye? That kid resolved the grudge between them with just a few words. He even won the admiration of Dugu Kwangdao and the others. Although he's still young, he's very experienced and intelligent. In the future, he'll be like a dragon emerging from the abyss, said a middle-aged cultivator. When a dragon comes out of the abyss, it's a boundless world. Let's go, we have to report this matter to the young Mississippi, said another middle-aged man. The two of them squeezed through the crowd and quickly disappeared. Dugu Kwangdao and the others. Lin Feng had heard a lot of snooze. According to Dugu Kwangdao's information, it was said that there would be people from the ancient aristocratic families coming to hunt the fire Qilin. Therefore, the various forces did not act rashly and were still waiting. When Lin Feng returned, it was already late at night. After washing up, Lin Feng fell asleep on his bed. He didn't wake up until he heard a knock on the door the next day. Lin Feng opened the door and saw two people standing outside. One was a waiter, and the other was a middle-aged cultivator. However, Lin Feng didn't recognize him. Lin Gongzi, I deserve to die for disturbing your sleep. It's just that this lord is looking for you. That's why I disturbed you. Please forgive me, the waiter said in fear and trepidation. It's fine. You can leave, Lin Feng said. I'll take my leave. The waiter left. Lin Feng looked at the middle-aged man, smiled, and asked, How should I address you? I'm Dong Qing, a manager of the Mercenary Association. I'm here to deliver a letter to our young miss. The middle-aged man took out a letter and handed it to Lin Feng. Lin Feng took the letter and asked, Who is your young miss? Lin Gongzi, you'll know once you see it. I'll take my leave. The middle-aged man cupped his fists and left. Lin Feng went back to his room and opened the envelope. There was an invitation letter inside. The contents were as follows. Qing and Lin Gongzi met yesterday. You left a deep impression on me. Today, I have something to discuss with you. Please come to the Mercenary Association. Shang Wenfei's name was written on the bottom. It's her. Lin Feng was shocked. He couldn't help but think of Shang Wenfei's beautiful face and enchanting body. Night fell, and Lin Feng arrived at the Mercenary Association. In the main hall, he saw Shang Wenfei. It had to be said that Shang Wenfei was truly a vixen. Her entire body was filled with an alluring aura. Such an aura could evoke a man's most primal desires. Even for Lin Feng, when facing Shang Wenfei, it was hard for him to stop his imagination from running wild. Lin Feng smiled at Shang Wenfei and asked, May I know why this beautiful lady has summoned me? Shang Wenfei said sweetly, If there's nothing, can't you call Lin Gongzi over for a chat? A heart-to-heart talk? Lin Feng smiled and said, Of course not. It's my honor to meet such a great beauty like Fair. He. Shang Wenfei laughed so hard that she rocked back and forth. This woman was truly a vixen. Her every move and action was filled with such charm that it could make any man's heart race. Shang Wenfei had been secretly observing Lin Feng's every move. Although she could see Lin Feng's burning gaze, she could also see that deep within Lin Feng's eyes were a clear light. Shang Wenfei thought to herself, This person is not as shallow as he seems on the surface? A hint of doubt arose in her heart, but the expression on her face grew even more mesmerizing. She smiled and said, Lin Gongzi, this time, Fair has invited you here because she has a favor to ask of Lin Gongzi. Lin Feng said passively, Miss Fair is a member of the Mercenary Association. How could she possibly have a favor to ask of me? Shang Wenfei was exasperated. She clearly understood that Lin Feng was trying to block her from speaking further. Lin Feng indeed had such intentions. After all, he had only met Shang Wenfei once. How could her request be simple? Shang Wenfei smiled and said, Young master is so talented. I'm sure you will be able to help Fair. Lin Feng felt rather helpless, but since Shang Wenfei had already said it to such an extent, he did not want to continue rejecting her. Instead, he asked, I'm curious, with Miss Fair's status, what can she possibly ask of me? At that moment, Shang Wenfei revealed a pitiful expression as she said, My father is the head of the Mercenary Association in the Jinwu country, and he is in charge of dozens of mercenary associations. I have two brothers. My elder brother is a vicious man, and my third brother is a hedonistic son. They are both born to their official mothers, and have high statuses. As for my mother, she is just a servant girl, and my father had an affair with her when he was drunk. As such, my status in the family is extremely low. Next winter, there will be a family meeting, and at that time, there will be some new power relations in the family. As far as I know, my elder brother wants to use me as a tool for marriage, so as to prevent me from fighting for power with him. In such a large family, there is always mutual deception. My third brother is useless, but my elder brother is an arrogant and conceited person, and he even made a great enemy, causing the destruction of a mercenary association, killing hundreds of people. With such a person in charge of the mercenary association, my Shangguan family's foundation will be destroyed. I hope that young master can accompany me then. No matter for myself or for the family's foundation, I cannot let my elder brother become the successor. Shangguan Fair spoke so pitifully, but in truth, This was a matter of power struggles in large families. The loser's fate was usually more tragic, and Shangguan Fei was a woman, and her mother was not of good birth. If she failed, her fate would be even more tragic. Lin Feng shook his head slightly, saying, "This is a matter of your family, and I am just an outsider. It is not appropriate for me to interfere. Furthermore, my power is not enough to help you." Shangguan Fei said pitifully, "Lin Gongzi is so talented. Next year, when winter comes, young master will definitely be a hidden dragon rising from the abyss, a dragon soaring to the 9 heavens. You will definitely have the ability to support Fei." Lin Feng naturally knew that Shangguan Fei was just flattering him. However, Lin Feng himself was extremely confident. He believed that with his talent, in a year's time, he would grow to a level that even Shangguan Fei would not dare to believe. Lin Feng looked at Shangguan Fei. Looking at her pitiful appearance, he couldn't help but feel pity for her. It had to be said that beautiful women often had a huge advantage. Shangguan Fei was one such example. Lin Feng stood up and walked in front of Shangguan Fei, pinching her snow-white chin. Shangguan Fei blushed slightly, but did not struggle free. "If you agree to become my woman, I will agree to your conditions. How about it?" Chapter 80. Lin Feng sat down on the chair, while Shangguan Fei sat on Lin Feng's lap. Shangguan Fei's body was extremely sensitive, and she had never had such intimate contact with a man before. At the same time, Lin Feng's body was also extremely sensitive. After all, he was only a 16-year-old youth, and had never truly enjoyed a woman before. When he came into contact with a woman, especially a peerless beauty like Shangguan Fei, his body would naturally change greatly. Shangguan Fei sat on Lin Feng's lap, and she could clearly feel the changes in Lin Feng's body. She twisted her body slightly, trying to get up and escape from Lin Feng's embrace. However, that only deepened the contact between them. "Don't move!" Lin Feng could feel the excitement in his body, and his grip on Shangguan Fei tightened. "You can't move either," Shangguan Fei said in a trembling voice. She felt as if her body had lost all its strength, and she collapsed into Lin Feng's embrace. The two of them fell into a short silence. Shangguan Fei could feel the change in Lin Feng's body, and it seemed to have calmed down. Only then did she heave a long sigh of relief. Blushing, she turned around, her face cold. You are too much, let go of me," Lin Feng said. "If I let go of you, does that mean I will not agree to your terms?" Lin Feng's question was extremely aggressive, as if he was forcing Shangguan Fei to agree to his terms. Shangguan Fei's face was dark and uncertain. Naturally, she could not agree so rashly. After all, if she did agree, she would have to entrust her entire life to this man in front of her. This was not an easy decision to make. Lin Feng allowed Shangguan Fei to stand up. Shangguan Fei's face was red as she tidied up her messy clothes. Lin Feng walked outside and smiled. "Little Fei, my beautiful girl, I have the heart to help you, but I can't. We'll see each other later." Seeing that Lin Feng was about to leave, Shangguan Fei gritted her teeth angrily. Just now, she had been so intimate with Lin Feng. Although nothing had happened due to the clothes between them, that level of contact was already unimaginable for a woman. "Bastard, you took advantage of me and now you want to leave?" Shangguan Fei couldn't help but think hatefully in her heart. However, seeing Lin Feng walk out without any hesitation, Shangguan Fei's initial hesitation, embarrassment, and anger turned into grievance, and she said angrily, "Lin Feng, stop right there! I didn't say I didn't agree to your request." Lin Feng stopped, looking at the blushing Shangguan Fei, a faint smile on his face. Shangguan Fei blushed as she said, "Although I can agree to your request, we have to make an agreement." "Oh? An agreement? What does that mean?" Lin Feng asked. "Firstly, before you return to the family with me, you can't do those things to me," Shangguan Fei said with a red face. "Do those things" was naturally referring to rolling in the sheets between men and women. However, as a woman, she was too embarrassed to say it out loud. Lin Feng nodded and said, I can agree to that. Shangguan Feier continued, Secondly, you have to love me and protect me. You can't bully me. Lin Feng smiled and said, Of course, who would bear to bully such a beautiful wife like you? Humph. Shangguan Feier gave a rather cute snort with a hint of coquettishness. She continued, Thirdly, you can't let anyone bully me. Lin Feng said, Wife, don't worry. If anyone dares to bully you, I'll take their dog life. Hearing Lin Feng's promise, Shangguan Feier suddenly felt a sense of peace. Such a feeling was something she had never felt before. Ever since she could remember, Shangguan Feier knew what her position in the family was. Not only did she have to live for herself, she also had to live for her mother. These years, Shangguan Feier had lived a very tiring life. Under that seemingly strong exterior, she actually had a weak heart. However, when she heard Lin Feng's domineering words, Shangguan Feier's heart seemed to melt, and her tears fell uncontrollably. Lin Feng walked forward, hugging her with a pained expression. This woman, these years must have been very difficult for her. Lin Feng gently wiped away her tears, saying gently, Feier, don't worry, I will protect you well. No one will bully you. Feier believes. Shangguan Feier nodded repeatedly. Looking at Shangguan Feier's luscious red lips, Lin Feng slowly inched forward. Shangguan Feier naturally knew what Lin Feng wanted to do, and she reached out to push him away, not wanting to let Lin Feng have his way so easily. However, she found that Lin Feng's strength was just too great, and she felt a little weak and powerless. In the next instant, her red lips were sealed. We're a big baddie, let go of me. As soon as Shangguan Feier reacted, she started to struggle, but she was unable to break free from Lin Feng. The more she struggled, the more it aroused Lin Feng's desire. Lin Feng did not hold back at all, instead preying open Shangguan Feier's pearly white teeth and starting to ravage her, his right hand even reaching into her clothes. Such an erotic scene naturally did not last long, and Shangguan Feier finally managed to muster enough strength to push Lin Feng away. Her face flushed red as she glared fiercely at Lin Feng. However, in Lin Feng's eyes, Shangguan Feier's shy and angry look was even more alluring. Looking at Shangguan Feier's shy and angry expression, Lin Feng felt his heart quicken. It was a feeling of his heart thumping wildly. The next day, news spread that the powerhouses of the ancient powers had arrived. However, they did not stop at the mercenary town, instead heading straight for the Fire Qilin's hiding place. This caused quite a stir, and many people headed into the desolate forest. Lin Feng also heard the news, and decided to enter the desolate forest as well. For a vicious beast like the Fire Qilin, the closer it is to death, the more terrifying it is. You must be careful. Shangguan Feier knew that Lin Feng was going to enter the desolate forest to participate in the hunt for the Fire Qilin, and as such before Lin Feng left, she reminded Lin Feng worriedly. Lin Feng said, Don't worry, I will come back in one piece. Lin Feng stroked Shangguan Feier's beautiful face, kissing her lightly on the forehead. Shangguan Feier did not reject him, instead feeling sweet. Ever since what had happened with Lin Feng yesterday, Shangguan Feier's heart had been tied to Lin Feng. Perhaps even Shangguan Feier had not noticed the change in her heart. Her dependence on Lin Feng was not just purely due to Lin Feng's help, but also an emotional dependence. Chapter 81. The ancient desolate forest was originally a place where vicious beasts roamed freely. But today, many vicious beasts had fled to the depths of the desolate forest. That was because there were too many human cultivators who had entered the desolate forest. Vicious beasts also knew how to avoid disaster. The cultivators who had entered the desolate forest were naturally here for the legendary Fire Qilin. The Fire Qilin's entire body was a treasure. All the major powers wanted a share of the loot. Therefore, the desolate forest was very lively. Lin Feng, Dugu Guangdao, and the others entered the desolate forest together. They went straight to the Fire Qilin's hiding place. Brother Dugu, have you seen the Fire Qilin before? Asked Lin Feng. I saw the Fire Qilin from afar. It was standing at the peak of a mountain, surrounded by flames. It looked like a sacred fire beast, sacred and inviolable. Dugu Kwangdao recalled seeing the fire Qilin a while ago. That scene was unforgettable for him, said Lin Feng while smiling wryly. Such a strong cultivator, in the end, will become a target for all the influential groups. Dugu Kwangdao said. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Holy beasts like the fire Qilin are mysterious existences that only appear in legends. I just don't know why such a holy beast has appeared in a small place like our Jinwu country. Moreover, this holy beast Qi is very weak. I don't know if it's seriously injured. This is a good opportunity to kill the fire Qilin. If the fire Qilin recovers, even a yin-yang cultivator will die in front of it. Lin Feng nodded. That's true. It won't be easy to kill such an existence. The group traveled for 3 days before they finally arrived at the fire Qilin's hiding place. The temperature here had risen sharply. It should have something to do with the fire Qilin. Look, that's the fire Qilin! Dugu Kwangdao pointed at a valley. Lin Feng looked over and saw a gigantic beast surrounded by flames. The gigantic beast was as big as a mountain. It gave Lin Feng a strong visual impact. Is that the fire Qilin? Isn't it too big? It's as tall as a mountain. Even a yin-yang expert wouldn't be able to deal with such a terrifying existence, right? Lin Feng was speechless. If the fire unicorn was at its peak, it could kill a yin-yang cultivator with one claw, but now, it's half dead. You should know that the fire unicorn won't be able to last for a long time. It doesn't have much fighting strength left, said the fire unicorn. Dugu Kwangdao said. Yes. Lin Feng nodded. It was indeed as Dugu Kwangdao had said. The fire Qilin in front of him was lying on the ground, not moving at all. Perhaps it was because its injuries were too severe. Numerous cultivators had gathered in the surroundings. They were scattered all over the place as they watched the fire Qilin. However, no one dared to act rashly. Even though the fire Qilin was on the verge of death, it was still an ancient, ferocious beast. The closer it was to death, the more terrifying it was. Ordinary cultivators simply couldn't withstand the fire Qilin's attacks. Moreover, it was still unknown whether the fire Qilin was truly injured or weakened due to other reasons. Naturally, no one dared to act rashly. Moreover, everyone was waiting for the yin-yang cultivator from the ancient factions to arrive. Whoosh! In the distance, an overwhelming golden light swept across the heavens. Amidst the endless golden light, a man in a long golden robe flew over. Ji Chen! Someone exclaimed, recognizing the identity of this cultivator. His background was extraordinary. He was the successor of the Jin family, a famous ancient aristocratic family in the divine prefecture of the eastern region. Although he was young, his cultivation base was profound. His strength could even suppress many of the older cultivators who had been famous for a long time. Ji Chen's golden robe fluttered in the wind. His long golden hair fluttered in the wind. He was extraordinarily handsome. He stood in the void and looked into the valley. He was not in a hurry to attack. Whoosh! In the distance, another person arrived. This was a cultivator shrouded in a black robe. Demonic fog rolled around him. Clearly, this was a demonic cultivator. It's a cultivator from the Soul Devourer Temple, someone said fearfully. The Soul Devourer Temple was a famous demonic faction in the divine prefecture of the eastern region. Back then, the 10 ancient cities joined forces to besiege the Soul Devourer Temple, but they could not destroy this demonic faction. It was clear how terrifying the Soul Devourer Temple was. Lin Feng looked at the cultivator from the Soul Devourer Temple, and could not help but frown slightly. Previously, when he entered the wild forest to train, he met Yuan Yufeng from the Soul Devourer Temple with Murong Shui. This Yuan Yufeng seemed to be the grandson of an elder from the Soul Devourer Temple. His identity was extraordinary. A sacred beast like the fire Qilin actually appeared in a barren land like the divine prefecture of the eastern region. It's unbelievable. In the distance, a voice came. It was a man with a long sword on his back. He looked like a sword immortal. Little sword demon, Li Beige, Someone exclaimed. This person's identity was not simple. He was a lone cultivator, but because he obtained the orthodoxy of an ancient cultivator, he soared to the sky and was very famous in the divine prefecture of the eastern region. In the blink of an eye, 3 yin-yang cultivators had arrived. Lin Feng said, "What does Li Beige mean? Why does he say that the divine prefecture of the eastern region is a barren land? The divine prefecture of the eastern region is rich in resources. Ordinary people would not be able to cross it in 10 lifetimes. There are countless resources. How can it be a barren land?" Duge Guangdao smiled wryly and said, "Brother Yang, you don't know. I've heard that outside of the divine prefecture of the eastern region, there are 99 provinces, overseas, and even celestial islands." "Hiss!" Lin Feng gasped. "Gods! High and mighty! That was a legend recorded in the classic of mountains and seas. Now, there were deities in other states. In comparison, the divine prefecture of the eastern region was much worse than the other provinces. The king of beasts is dead, but not dead. A dying beast is like a sleeping dragon. Although the fire Qilin is not in a good situation, it won't be easy to deal with. Why don't the 3 of us work together?" said Genie Chen. The cultivator in black robes from the Soul Devourer Temple laughed sinisterly and said, "All right, let's work together and kill the fire Qilin. As for how to divide the treasures on the fire Qilin, we'll talk about it after we kill it. Since you're all in the same boat, I have no objections," said the little sword demon, Li Beige. "Attack!" shouted Genie Chen. Swish! A halberd appeared in his hand. He held it and flew towards the fire Qilin in the valley. The cultivator in black robes from the Soul Devourer Temple held a chain in his hand. The little sword demon, Li Beige, drew his sword and charged towards the fire Qilin. Chapter 82. The 3 strong cultivators are attacking! Many people were excited. They were all waiting for the strong cultivators of the yin-yang world to attack. Finally, the yin-yang world cultivators were attacking. The 3 strong cultivators quickly rushed towards the valley. At this moment, a suffocating aura came from the valley. Swoosh! The fire Qilin, which had been lying on the ground, suddenly opened its eyes. It had a pair of terrifying eyes. Those cold eyes looked at the 3 strong cultivators. The 3 strong cultivators felt a chill run down their spines. "The fire Qilin is heavily injured. This is our best chance to kill it. If we miss this opportunity, we won't have another chance like this in our lives." Genie Chen gnashed his teeth. He overcame his fear and continued rushing towards the fire Qilin. Just like Genie Chen, the strong cultivator in black clothes from the Soul Devourer Palace and the little sword demon, Li Beige, also suppressed their fear and rushed towards the fire Qilin with their weapons. If they could really kill the fire Qilin, it would be a great fortune for them. Perhaps this fortune would allow them to break through the shackles of the yin-yang world and reach a higher level. Such a great temptation was enough for the 3 strong cultivators of the yin-yang world to take the risk. Dusk rain, sword falls like rain. The little sword demon, Li Beige, attacked. He stabbed with his sword and a boundless rain started falling from the sky. Each drop of rain was a sword. Rainwater sword. This kind of swordsmanship was incomparably marvelous. Lin Feng was astonished. "Is this the ancient sword technique that Li Beige obtained? How powerful!" "That's right. This is an ancient sword technique. 1 sword, 10,000 swords will fall. It's invincible." Duge Guangdao looked at Li Beige enviously. It was rumored that Li Beige had been an ordinary adventurer. He had coincidentally obtained an ancient cultivator's cave, which had allowed him to soar into the sky. Duge Guangdao, who was also an adventurer, also dreamed that he would be as lucky as Li Beige one day. When Li Beige attacked, Genie Chen attacked as well. He held his halberd and stabbed towards the fire Qilin. 1 spear creates a world. The ancient technique that Genie Chen displayed was also extremely powerful. As he stabbed out with his spear, layers of illusory images appeared in front of him, revealing an ancient world. Jin Yichen's attack instantly pierced through this world. This spear seemed to be able to pierce through any obstacle. As for the black-robed expert from Soul Devourer Palace, he moved the black chain in Lun Dong's hand. The black chain was obviously a treasure. When the Soul Devourer Palace threw out the chain, screech! A sharp, ear-piercing cry rang out. It was like the mournful cry of a malicious spirit. Hearing this cry, even in the daytime, made people feel a bone-piercing chill. Endless demonic fog gushed out from the black chains, and within the demonic fog, there were actually countless ghosts that pounced on the Fire Qilin. The Soul Devourer Palace was a demonic sect. The treasures they refined and the abilities they cultivated were all extremely evil. It was unknown how many innocent people they had to kill to refine such a treasure. When the three powerhouses attacked, each of their attacks were incomparably terrifying. Roar! The Fire Qilin's roar shook the sky. At this moment, the Fire Qilin stood up. Its body was too big. After standing up, it was actually 1,000 meters tall and 2,000 meters long. It was completely like a mountain ridge, giving people a strong visual impact. The Fire Qilin raised its huge claws and slapped toward the three powerhouses. Boom! The two sides collided violently. It had to be said that the Fire Qilin was really powerful. Its claws sent the three powerhouses flying. The three powerhouses' faces were very pale. The Fire Qilin's attack had injured them to a certain extent. This Fire Qilin is terrifying! Lin Feng was speechless. It was indeed a divine beast recorded in the Classic of Mountains and Seas Divine Beast Record. In such a weakened state, it still sent the three powerhouses flying with a single blow. It was hard to imagine how terrifying the Fire Qilin was at its peak. The Fire Qilin's roar shook the sky. It stepped forward, wanting to take this opportunity to kill the three powerhouses. However, after taking a few steps, the Fire Qilin's body collapsed. This Fire Qilin is really weak. It can't even stand for a long time, Duge Guangdao exclaimed. This gave many people hope. Jin Yichen, the black-robed man from the Soul Devourer Temple, and Li Beige stabilized their bodies. Their faces were cold. Jin Yichen shouted, "Since you want to share, what are you waiting for? If you don't attack now, when are you going to attack? Kill!" The densely packed cultivators roared and rushed toward the valley. There were probably no less than 10,000 cultivators who came this time. It was very lively. Everyone wanted to get some benefits from killing the Fire Qilin. Now, the Fire Qilin's condition was obviously extremely weak. It was indeed a good opportunity to kill it. The densely packed cultivators surrounded the valley so tightly that not even a drop of water could escape. Then, arrows blotted out the sky and shot toward the Fire Qilin. Everyone participated in this, including Lin Feng. He also joined the group that surrounded the Fire Qilin. This was a huge scene. Under the leadership of 3 yin-yang realm cultivators, 10,000 cultivators were trying to kill the Fire Qilin. The Fire Qilin was already weak, and now it had suffered a great impact. The 3 yin-yang realm cultivators also found an opportunity to injure the Fire Qilin. For example, Jin Yichen stabbed his halberd into the Fire Qilin's body. Blood immediately flowed out. Li Beige used his sword to cut open the scales on the Fire Qilin's body, causing great damage. The black-robed man from the Soul Devourer Temple released many yin spirits, and sent them into the Fire Qilin's mind. They even wanted to devour its soul. The Fire Qilin was greatly injured. Its body twitched violently. The Fire Qilin stood up again. Because of the intense pain, it rampaged through the forest, causing mountains to collapse. Hurry up and dodge! Many cultivators tried to dodge, but many were buried by the mountains and died miserably. Some were trampled to death by the Fire Qilin. It can't hold on for much longer. It'll die soon. Continue attacking it! Shouted Jin Yichen loudly. He suddenly pulled out his halberd. The Fire Qilin's blood splashed out. Countless cultivators continued attacking the Fire Qilin even more ferociously. They wanted to kill it. At that moment, the Fire Qilin exploded. Fire Qilin's fury! The Fire Qilin's roar shook the sky. The fire Chilin's body spewed out endless flames. The flames spread in all directions, burning the sky and the earth. Many people were instantly swallowed by the flames. It was the fire Chilin. It was extremely terrifying and impossible to extinguish. Immediately, many cultivators were burned to ashes. Hurry up and retreat! The 3 strong cultivators were astonished and quickly retreated. But the fire Chilin had gone completely crazy. It waved its huge claws as if it had gathered all its strength and attacked the 3 strong cultivators. Crack! Crack! The 3 strong cultivators were blown away by the fire Chilin's attack. Many of their bones were broken. Bang! The 3 experts slammed heavily into the mountain peaks in the distance, causing them to collapse. Hurry up and run! Countless people fled in all directions. The crazy fire Chilin was too terrifying. They didn't know if the 3 yin-yang realm cultivators had been killed by the fire Chilin. Roar! The fire Chilin's roar shook the sky. Its mountain-like body soared into the sky and flew towards the 3 strong cultivators. The fire Chilin clearly hated the 3 strong cultivators and wanted to kill them. At that moment, 3 figures soared into the sky from the collapsed ruins. It was Jinichen, the strong cultivator in black robes from the Soul Devourer Temple, and the little sword demon, Li Beige. They had obviously been severely injured. Their chi was weak and their faces were as pale as paper. When they saw the fire Chilin rushing towards them, they didn't dare stay. Roar! The fire Chilin roared furiously. It didn't chase after the 3 strong cultivators, so it vented its anger on the ordinary cultivators. The fire Chilin rushed over and opened its mouth. It suddenly inhaled. A terrifying suction force surged out. Countless cultivators were sucked into the fire Chilin's stomach. Countless people fled in horror. It's too terrifying. The fire Chilin is worthy of being a divine beast recorded in the classic of mountains and seas. Such a terrifying existence, even if it's extremely weak, isn't something ordinary people can withstand once it's angry. Lin Feng looked at the fire Chilin in horror. Countless cultivators had been killed. The fire Chilin had gone completely crazy and was crazily devouring the cultivators. Whoosh! Lin Feng rushed into the forest and hid under a hidden crack in a huge rock. After a long time, the forest returned to normal. The fire Chilin's voice disappeared. Lin Feng walked out of his hiding place. The scene before him was a mess. Large areas of the forest had been destroyed, and there were many charred corpses on the ground. The losses from killing the fire Chilin were too great. Lin Feng took a deep breath. He didn't know if Dugu Guangdao and the others had escaped or not. Is it safe? The fire Chilin seems to have left. In the distance, there were still some cultivators hiding in some hidden places. They had escaped the disaster and were now walking out of their hiding places. When everyone saw the mess in front of them, they couldn't help but gasp. They were really lucky to have escaped this disaster. Sigh, I thought I could kill the fire Chilin. Who would have thought that it would be so terrifying? Some people sighed. They were also glad that they had survived this disaster. Lin Feng said, Everyone, we can't stay here for long. We don't know if the fire Chilin is still wandering around. Let's leave quickly. Yes, let's leave this place quickly. The others quickly nodded. Lin Feng and a dozen other survivors quickly left the place, which was already a mess.